Tuesday edition. The tinkering with the Packers roster continues, and it actually got a little bit older yesterday. They're up to an average age of 25 on the dot edition, and they're going to be even older when they have a long snapper on the team. Jesse has the open. Jesse's got the opening segment.
Long time, yes. Jesse, you could admit yesterday was blah. Jesse didn't have a good day yesterday. Fair?
We'll get to no argument here.
Okay, yeah.
It didn't stop at 12 p.m. It was a day all day yesterday.
Okay. Well, for the record, your work day did end at 12 p.m. yesterday. Just for the record.
Mine didn't, because I had bad questions to ask in a fact-finding mission about the Jonathan Taylor interest that the Green Bay Packers clearly had. At no point did Brian Gutekunst deny that they talked to the Colts about Jonathan Taylor. He just said that A.J. Dillon was never part of the conversation. A.J. Dillon was going to be on this team regardless.
You mean he wasn't in the conversation? They were talking about trading him, but he wasn't in the conversation?
We'll get to that edition of Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee 100. Boy, that music seems short. 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, 100.5 ESPN Madison, 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam, ESPN Wisconsin.
The Beef!
You're sporting them today.
Yeah.
Look at that.
What up, Beef?
I didn't know they made swim shirts. ESPNWisconsin.com,
nice.
the ESPN app, your Alexa smart speaker, and, of course, streaming live video on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Also, check out WisconsinOnDemand.com and the Wisconsin On Demand app. I'm Chase Wilde in Green Bay. Jesse Nelson is in the Everlight Solar ESPN Madison studios and proudly sporting his Beaver Dam, ESPN Beaver Dam t-shirt. It is the Packers Hall of Famer. It is Mark Tauscher. Tausch, good morning. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm excited to hear about Jesse's story, but you led with it. What did you get from Goody yesterday before we get to Jesse? What did Goody tell you? Did you get anything?
We did. Now, Jesse wanted to play a game where we would play my question, which did not work because Goody didn't really understand the apples to apples, because I'm not sure he knew as much about how much had been reported about their interest in Jonathan Taylor.
He knows.
Well, he seems...
Does Goody get a burner? Does he get a burner account, you think?
He seemed surprised when A.J. Dillon was part of the conversation. Now, whether he's a great actor or whatever it might be...
He's not. He's not a great actor. We all know that.
Here's the problem. No one ever actually reported that the Packers offered A.J. Dillon. Now, Pat McAfee on his show... Someone sent me a clip, because that is not a show I regularly tune into, where he gives his opinion that they...
Well, you did too. Hey, you threw A.J. Dillon out yesterday.
No
that
doubt
got my wheels turning.
Right, no doubt I did. But because I didn't have anyone confirming that they discussed trading A.J. Dillon, I couldn't ask him a question about, hey... You tried to trade A.J. Dillon, and then you didn't trade him. How do you handle a guy that you kind of said, we don't want you anymore? So it was a tightrope. And then Tomovsky, in classic Tomovsky form, just went straight into it, which was great, because that's why he and I have a great working relationship. But what I tried to do was bring up something that happened a long time ago, which in 1998, one of your former line mates, before you got to the Green Bay Packers, actually was traded.
Michael J.
Flanagan was traded to Carolina, and then he flunked his physical, and they sent him back.
Well, it was heads Carolina, tails Green Bay, and it came up tails.
And so, hey, we traded you to another team, but hey, it's great to have you back. We're really happy to have you.
Nobody else will pass you on a physical, so you're here. That's what's going on.
Right. And so what I was trying to get him to talk about in general terms was, what do you do when a guy is under the impression that he's either been traded in Mike Flanagan's case or was being discussed about being traded.
Mike Flanagan, what are you doing here? We traded you to Carolina.
What are you still doing here?
and look, whether or not, because here's the other part of it, and this is why I tried to take the approach that I did, because while Pat McAfee may have been advancing this as his quote-unquote opinion, who did Pat McAfee play for? The Indianapolis Colts. Do you think he knows people in the building? Do you think maybe it was a little bit?
I think he talks to Jim Irsay a bunch, I'm guessing.
Right.
Yeah.
And what do you think it's maybe a little bit like you and I during the 2021 offseason trying to tell everyone without saying Aaron Rodgers told us he's disgruntled to try and give people an idea that there were storm clouds brewing? So I don't know for a fact that A.J. Dillon was brought up in the trade talks. So I was trying to find a way to at least, hey, if he was, now they've got a problem on their hands because they're going to have a guy that they basically said, we don't want you anymore, and now we need you to play for us some more.
Yeah, so here's where I would push back on that. I think everyone is typically pretty aware of where they're at. I think A.J. Dillon, with some of the comments he made this offseason, I think he understands where he's at. He loves being a Green Bay Packer. He has embraced this like I can't recall. I can't recall an out-of-state guy that has embraced being a Wisconsinite more than A.J.
Maybe Donald Driver later in his career.
Yeah, but I mean, I think A.J. Dillon's going to live. I give him, again, I've said this many times, I give him a ton of credit. He carries himself in a great way. He gets it. He understands the whole game. So I think he understood this, and I think he understands the business of football. It doesn't mean it's not going to hurt his feelings, but he also knows he needs to play well, or, as we know with Eddie Lacy and other running backs, this league comes at you quick.
Fast.
Now, he will not be doing a garage sale because he's going to keep living in Green Bay and Door County and everything else. So there'll be no Eddie Lacy garage sale, but make no mistake about it, I think A.J. Dillon's very aware. Now, does that mean your feelings aren't hurt if that rumor is out there? And by the way, he is about as available as anybody, correct? Like, A.J. Dillon will talk when asked questions.
Yeah, not
he
yesterday.
was AWOL yesterday. So that tells you everything you need to know. Now, do I think that anytime you hear that the Green Bay Packers or your team is going to trade for a player or is interested or in the mix on trading for one of someone at your position?
Right.
I remember sitting talking at the training, and I was on a training room, and I was probably year 8 or 9. And I'm sitting there, and I won't say who, but a high-level Green Bay Packer executive was walking through, and we were BSing. And we were talking about Joe Thomas. They said, it'd be good to get Joe here. And he's like, oh, yeah, no, it'd be great. You'd be gone, but it'd be great if Joe Thomas was coming in. So you can understand the angst. And I was kind of like, well, boy, that got real quick. It's you can joke around, but then when it comes right to your doorstep, you're going to be affected by it. But as you find out with your buddies leaving the team, and a great example is one of my good buddies who's getting inducted into the Hall of Fame today is Josh Sitton.
Yeah.
When he left the building, you think David Bakhtiari wasn't? I can assure you, David Bakhtiari was slapped. Every player has this. You are slapped in the face with the reality of the business. Barry Stokes getting cut, and not to the same extent, but when he left, I was a young player, and I was like, oh. And I think they released him middle of the season.
Yep.
You understand, and it comes at you quick. And David Bakhtiari, we were over, saying goodbye to City because I was in town. I think the Badgers were playing LSU up at Lambeau Field.
Yeah.
And you could see it was like, whoa, this business is tough. Everybody goes through it, and I think A.J. Dillon has been, such a great ambassador for the Green Bay Packers and for the state. Everything else, I'm sure yesterday was probably the first time he was like, because he put out, don't think I don't take this for granted. Year 4, all the stuff that I see him on social media putting. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that was a slap to the face, even if he wasn't involved. So Goody is smart to say, no, and who knows what's right and who's right on this. But the more I thought about it, made a lot more sense. I understand why the Colts didn't accept it, but it made a lot more sense that Green Bay would look at it through this lens because even though Aaron Jones is great and he is the heart and soul of this football team, as Matt LaFleur said yesterday, he's getting older. He's on a one-year deal in essence. And
right.
JT 23 is a difference maker. So I understand the whole complexion of it. That's why trying to mix this batter of a football roster and trying to keep everybody motivated and everybody happy is not an easy thing. And one of the things I was talking to Coach Fickle yesterday a little bit about competition and how you want your guys competing. But he said something I hadn't thought about, and that was, that's great, but you better make sure everybody is still happy. Because what you don't want is the pettiness and everything else, and trying to get that balance of competitiveness with that balance of happiness is really a hard line to toe because the receiving core for Wisconsin is going to be markedly better. It's going to be a lot more competitive for reps. How you balance that is really going to be tricky because you're going to have guys emerge, but you don't want guys that you really like and want to play to start checking out because they're not getting the opportunities. It's a fine line of work, support each other. How you get that is a tricky thing in a locker room.
So that is really interesting because of the amount of talent they have at that position and transfer portals and everything else. And you may have a talented guy who then becomes disgruntled, and the next thing you know, he's leaving, right? That's the way college football is these days. I am curious, though, forget about A.J. Dillon for a second, and just the bottom line that Goody, at no point yesterday, he made a joke about the checklist. I don't comment on players that aren't on our team. We're always going to explore opportunities to make the Green Bay Packers better. Ha, 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 ha. We needed Mark Murphy's laugh track when he did it. But it's true. He does have a checklist of things that he says when these types of things, Chase Claypool, Darren Waller, et cetera, et cetera. At no point did he deny that they did not talk to the Colts about Jonathan Taylor. Clearly they did. And clearly it was to some meaningful degree. This was not, hey, you guys, would you take a conditional seventh for him and maybe we'll, throw in Patrick Taylor? Like, there were serious conversations that occurred. How close they were to actually consummating a deal, it doesn't sound like the Colts like the offer. But remember, this was an artificial deadline created by the Colts. They gave him the right to seek a trade. They had until the final 53 cut down, but the actual deadline is the trade deadline on Halloween. So this may not be over. This is not resolved. Chris Ballard, talking to reporters in Indy yesterday, it sucks. It sucks for the team. It sucks for the fans. It sucks for Jonathan Taylor. But
let me tell you something. I heard Chris Ballard. If I'm Chris Ballard, he looked like a hostage yesterday. Like, legit.
He was not a volunteer.
You could see and you can tell he understands how important JT is. He's got an owner that is sticking his foot down and saying,
where it don't
we're
belong.
not doing it. And Jim Irsay is now the worst owner in the NFL. I don't think there's any question about it.
Now that Washington has new ownership?
Hey, how much stuff do you think? Has he taken enough grief? Everybody crushes Peyton. He had Peyton, Blank, and Manning, Edgerrin James. They got one chip out of that.
Yeah.
Where's everybody getting after Jim Irsay? People are crushing Mark Murphy.
Then they got another franchise quarterback.
And then they get Andrew Luck. They can't. They said yesterday, would a running back help? Would that have helped him? And they hire a GM that said, well, it's unfair. We got to pay Andrew Luck. And it just tells you how dysfunctional that whole operation is.
Indeed. So
third base guy. Total third base guy.
I know you love that.
Hey, Jim. Yes. Jimmy, you didn't hit a triple, brother. You didn't. Okay? You didn't hit a triple. It'd be so irritating. If I'm JT 23, you got to be so irritated seeing what this is. I'd be so irritated. And Chris Ballard, God bless him, he's sitting there like, God, ugh.
I don't like my boss.
This is brutal.
No,
but this guy don't know what the hell he's doing, but what am I going to say? He's out there collecting Jimi Hendrix guitars and bringing whales across oceans. And JT23, who they want first-round picks for, they don't want to pay him market rate for a running back? Okay. All right, Jimmy, let's see how your team does this year.
I could talk about what a dink Jim Irsay is all day, but I would be curious what it says to you that Goody in no way denied their interest, because I do think that is significant.
For sure, and I have to go back yesterday. I apologize. I thought it was I was in the same camp as Homer. You talked me down, which is great, and there's no doubt that there was more than just a feeler out there. Now, whether it was A.J. Dillon, there's no way it was Aaron Jones. I firmly believe that the Indianapolis Colts wanted Christian Watson. If I was a betting man, that's what I would bet.
Because
I would say,
because they wanted Jalen Waddle.
You listen to what other people and where their things are. And what does a young quarterback, what did Jalen Hurts need to take a next step? What's the formula now
to do
it? And Christian Watson is young. He is the Packers' most exciting, best player at the receiver position as we sit here. And the fact that the Packers showed interest, the Colts are probably looking at it saying, well, we asked for Jalen Waddle down in Miami. They laughed at us. Christian Watson's had a good run, but he's been injured. He hasn't played. He's still young. Here's a deal we can live with. And wisely, the Green Bay Packers, this is my own hypothetical here.
Yes, we know.
Wisely, the Green Bay Packers said, no, Christian Watson, I don't know how many people, I think the Packers feel this highly about Christian Watson. I don't think there'd be many people he'd trade him for. I don't.
I don't think so either. But if you want Samari Toure, and maybe a sixth, sounds like a good deal to me. Figured out a way for us to get
Who do you think the most untradeable? Who would be the most untradeable guy right now? That if somebody Goody would say, "All right, I'm having a little sale here. These guys are the only people that I will not trade." I think 3 or 4 guys that they would definitely not trade.
Okay.
Elton Jenkins would be top of the list.
I don't think they'd trade
Elton Jenkins.
That's who I was going to pick. Now, they have said very clearly they're not trading Bakhtiari. I mean, he said it on the record.
Let me tell you
something. So he has lied before.
He said a lot of things. Let's be honest. If the ship is setting and it ain't going well, and somebody offers a second or third round pick for D-Bach at the trade deadline, you really don't think they're going to think seriously about trading him?
No, I think they definitely will. So Elton Jenkins was my first pick. The 2 wide receivers were my next 2 picks.
I don't know if I'd say Romeo Doubs untouchable. I don't think that's the case.
I think he's.
Jesse, throw that up on your Facebook page. I want to just get not on Twitter
LinkedIn.
Or X. Put it on LinkedIn. Just an open ender. Who would be your untradables on this roster? Jordan Love obviously is untradeable right now. You're not trading unless it's for Patrick Mahomes.
Well, I don't know. That Sean Clifford looked pretty good in the preseason. All right, so.
Oh, God.
We'll talk more about where the Packers roster stands, and Jesse had the open and then lost it, so we'll see what his little story was that he wanted to tell.
He didn't even talk yet. I wanted to let him get his feet on the ground. I've never seen him he's so rattled yesterday, sweating, and he was as rattled as I've ever seen him in the, what have been doing this now, 5 years together? I think it's as rattled as I've ever seen him.
Has it been that long?
A little over 4.
I think so.
If you round up,
feels like 5.
We're going on 5. I think is how we would say that. Yeah.
All right. Now Jesse has spoken, so he's fulfilled that quota. Now Tausch's turn to speak about Gina Della, Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, and the mosquito zoo that he has in his Verbo. That is not actually what we hear in the commercial.
Yeah. And today, everybody enjoy this. This is the last August read. I always get nervous at the end of the month, people, because then it's a new set. But let's talk a little bit as we wind down this month about the birds and the bees. School's back in session. We're not talking about those birds and the bees. We're talking about nature. And right now, you want to keep all of that. You want to keep wasps. And give me an ugly insect, Jason. What's another ugly insect that you're thinking of?
Dragonfly.
You don't want any dragonflies coming in your house. Yeah, keep going. Cicada, those things are loud. You don't want them. 250 series from Pella Windows and Doors, Wisconsin will help you out. The 250 series includes exclusive hidden screens, which can stay inside the window while you're not using it. And if you bundle and save that 250 series patio door and 8 double hung windows with exclusive hidden screens, you can pay as low as $188 per month. Now, that is a good deal. Visit PellaWI.com today to learn more.
Jesse Nelson has a dilemma. He will share it with us, and we'll try to help him with it. Next, it's Wilde and Tausch.
The end of one era on ESPN Milwaukee means the start of a new one. It's Kyle, Brust, and Nortman every weekday from 2 to 5, followed by the Homer Hour from 5 to 6. The debuts happen September 11th right here on 94.5 ESPN. It's Labor Day week here on 94.5 ESPN, sponsored by Perky's Old Fashioned, a ready-to-pour bourbon or brandy mix with the alcohol already in it. Just add the soda of your choosing to their Perky's brandy or bourbon mix and enjoy. Find your nearest Perky's location at PerkySpirits.com and get 15% off Perky's merch using the code PERKY15. Happy Labor Day from 94.5 ESPN and Perky's Old Fashioned. Get perked up. Perky's is your local bartender in a bottle.
Kevin Moret here from Mentality Men's Health. Guys, did you know that the stored belly fat reduces your free testosterone? The more the belly grows, the harder it is to drop, mostly because of the decrease in free T. It's a vicious cycle that men are losing, and unfortunately, everyone can see it. Mentality breaks that cycle with semaglutide, an industry-changing weight loss medication that can help you lose up to 15% of your body weight while preserving your testosterone. Join our over 20,000 clients to look and feel the way you deserve. In Milwaukee, go to lowtusa.com. That's lowtusa.com.
Heading up north this summer for some golf? Be sure to book a tee time at the Ball Golf Course, an Arnold Palmer masterpiece just north of Milwaukee on the way to Kohler. It's the best destination for your next Wisconsin round of golf. Enjoy golf. Enjoy the bog.
Let's get the latest from Lambeau. This is your green and gold fix on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Z-Bart of Greater Milwaukee. Want that mirror finish on your car? You need Z-Gloss by Z-Bart. Z-Gloss is a 3-layer ceramic coating that not only gives your car that mirror finish, it protects it from everything that Mother Nature can throw at it. Visit zbart.com for more information.
The preseason is now over for the Packers, ending with a 19-15 victory in the preseason finale against the Seahawks. Malafleur saying Jordan Love would play, and he did, going 9-15 and a touchdown in the game. As for knowing if Love is ready to step up, LaFleur points to Love's ability to stay calm as a positive presence.
There were some moments that weren't the most fun going through when you're not producing points on offense. That can be frustrating, but I just think that's one of his makeups that makes him very special.
This has been your green and gold fix on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Z-Bart of Greater Milwaukee.
Life's better with a home policy from American Family Insurance because you'll feel protected no matter how the wind blows. Also, you can keep enjoying the home of your dreams. And our expert agents can help you save up to 23% when you bundle home with auto. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. American Family Insurance. Get a quote? Find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Everyone's gearing up for the start of the new football season for the Green and Gold. The anticipation is so hot it's almost melting away. And we've got your chance to see how Gouda, the new first-string QB under center, is live and in person thanks to Mars Cheese Castle. It's the Munsters of the Midway against the classic Cheeseheads in the first game of the new season. You won't believe how cheesy entering this great contest is. So fondue yourself a favor and head to Mars Cheese Castle in Kenosha now and enter to win big by scanning the QR code inside the store. Fill out the form and you're entered for the chance at a pair of tickets. Fed up with these cheese puns yet? Yes, it's true. This is not show average contest, but you cheddar hurry. You only have until September 5th to get up off your derriere to make a trip to Mars Cheese Castle in Kenosha right off the highway. Make plans to enter for this Gruyere-indeed good time. Only one fan can be crowned the Big Cheese and win these tickets, and the winner could be you. Visit ESPNWisconsinContest.com for official contest rules.
Right now our country feels divided, but there's a place where people with different political views and life experiences are coming together through the power of conversation, and it feels good. Hear more at lovehasnolabels.com/one-small-step. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
This is Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN, sponsored by American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
All right, as much as I want to get to Jesse's fascinating story, which I'm sure it will be, this needs to be addressed. You wanted to send off your final August Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin read, with a little extra oomph, right?
Little extra oomph, yep.
Yeah. Setting the stage for tomorrow when sometimes it's been known to be a struggle early on in a new month.
It's a little slow off the gates, yep. I've always been a little slow starter. Yeah.
So you brought up ugly bugs.
Mm-hmm.
And, I didn't know that was coming. So I went dragonfly and cicada. And I've got Josh DiMaggio, our buddy, Big Cat. The dragonfly might be the only good-looking bug there is. Do we find the dragonfly to be a good-looking bug?
How do you not think a beetle's not cute? All those specks and the red and black contrast. No. Beetle's a beautiful bug.
Do butterflies not fit into that discussion? Because
butterfly's not a bug.
What are they?
It's not a bug.
Well, this is like a whale mammal discussion, right? Like, are butterflies bugs? Seems like a fair question.
It is a fair question. If a butterfly's a bug, I don't mind. You know what? Even with that said, I don't want butterflies flying around my house. I don't.
Is a butterfly an insect or a bug? Which, by the way, I didn't realize that those two things were different.
Yeah. I thought that was the same thing, yeah.
All right, so where do we stand on the attractiveness of the... This is the kind of stuff that happens on our show.
No, I don't think... Dragonflies are annoying. No.
Yeah.
Even if it is, it's like you could have, it's a pretty girl, but it's annoying, but she's annoying. A dragonfly is pretty, but they annoy the hell out of you. They come around you. They're always up in your business. So, no, I don't want dragonflies. I want my Pella window to knock the dragonfly out of here. So, Joshy, whatever you want to say, nobody wants dragonflies floating around their living room. Nobody.
What
that is
about
a good-looking bug. That is a good-looking bug. Beautiful, actually.
Well, now that appears to be a dragonfly. So have we figured out our stance yet? I was going to say, how about fireflies? Do you want fireflies in the house? Lighten up your
at night around a campfire.
Yeah.
We go run around, catch fireflies, enjoy it, and put them in a jug, and then let them light off. Yeah, those are fun.
I will say, when we're up north and you got dragonflies flying around while you're on the lake, they're kind of fun. Like, if they land on you, you're like, oh, hey, friend.
Yeah, but you don't want them. You don't want them when you have an iced tea sitting on your barca lounge or watching a Packer game. You're not interested in dragonflies buzzing by your head. That's all.
Of all, dragonflies don't bite you.
Are you sure?
No, but I can't say I can't say that I know anybody that's ever been bit by a dragonfly. Like, flies will get you, bees
bit
will
by a
obviously
scorpion.
get you.
Scorpions and dragonflies I throw in the same category.
What?
I put
one of those
is
poisonous.
I understand. I'm not saying they're the exact same. I'm saying I can understand. I don't want to be bit by a scorpion. I don't want to be bit by a dragonfly.
All right. Now, the one person on the panel that I never want to be on the wrong side of has chimed in. And that would be Sarah Tauscher, who has tuned into the program. She has made it very clear. Dragonflies are harmless and beautiful. So she is on team Josh DiMaggio, which stings, I got to tell you. Speaking of bugs.
First off, I don't think she knows for certain that dragonflies. You know what? We're going to be heading up to Green Bay later. I'm going to go to the insect store. I'm going to go buy a bunch of dragonflies. I'm going to just throw them in the back of the Tahoe, and I'll let her see how much she loves those dragonflies flying around her. And I'll report back to you guys tomorrow.
How do you say dragonflies and scorpions are in the same boat?
I feel like it's a similar body type. Probably they are a similar. They got the crunchy skeleton in the middle.
Exoskeleton. Yeah.
That's how, Jesse. I think scorpions fly too, don't they?
I don't think so. We'll do our. Hey, let's do this. So we get to Jesse's story that he's been so eager to tell. Let's get to his story after you talk about something that you think is beautiful. Not a dragonfly, not a scorpion. The blue mountains that are on your ice-cold can of Coors Light. How's that for a transition?
Oh, I cannot wait to have me a couple Coors Lights tonight. You know I will, because I am in a mood to chill, and Coors Light will be in my hand up at Lambeau tonight with the 3-step cold process, cold lagered, cold filtered, and it is cold packaged. So it's made to chill. The mountains, oh, baby, the mountains, they'll be blue. That's when I know it will be chilled to perfection. That's why it is always Coors Light in my hand when I need a moment to chill. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Unofficial fact checker Sarah Tauscher, who is back also running Tausch's IT department, informs us.
Got the camera fixed.
It does appear that dragonflies do bite. So thank you for your service.
I tried to tell you that. I don't know where. There's a lot of fake news when it comes to insects, it seems as if.
And apparently bugs, which are not the same as
Jesse,
insects.
no, dragonflies don't bite. Do you know that for sure?
I didn't say. You asked me, do dragonflies bite? I said, I don't know. I don't know anyone.
Said they didn't bite.
I don't know anyone that has ever been bitten by a dragonfly.
Oh, how many people do you know have been bit by a shark?
Fair point. What about a scorpion? All right, we want to get to Jesse's story.
We know people that have been bit by scorpions. So now, all of a sudden, Jesse only answers questions if it has happened to somebody that he knows. That's where he's now fact-checking from.
This is possible.
Really? Okay. Good stuff.
This is instead of...
Hey, does skunks spray? No, I don't know anybody that's ever gotten sprayed by a skunk, so no, they don't spray.
Instead of you asking me a question and me making my assertion and then fact-checking later, I'm now saying, based on my life experience, this is the assertion that I have come to.
I don't think that's any better. I don't think that's an upgrade.
It's got the caveat where I could be wrong, but based on what I know at this moment in time, this is my assertion.
All right, Jesse... We're going to turn
it was your assertion. How's that? It was your assertion.
Good one.
We are going to turn the floor over to you.
That's not even on my pun calendar either. Speaking of that,
I was starting to wonder what happened to that pun calendar. When's the last time? Well, you were off for a while. You were in Europe. But when's the last time we got a pun from you?
Still on May.
Well, you know what? We've been talking so much about animals and insects. Some aquatic mammals escaped from the zoo. It was otter chaos.
Oldie but
Some
goodie.
dragonflies were put into my Tahoe. It was otter chaos. That doesn't fit as good. So
well executed.
Wow.
We'll hear Jesse's story.
No, they don't bite. Don't worry about it.
Flying scorpions opens up a whole other can of worms. That'd be terrifying.
I think scorpions can fly. I think there's a species of scorpion that can fly.
We'd be doomed if that was the case.
We'll fact check the flying scorpions and hear Jesse's story.
I'm going to tell you this, too. Before you go to break, I'm going to tell you this. We're playing pickleball this morning. I told you before, these cranes and geese, they are flying. I'm talking like a foot from us. They're like trying to interject themselves into our pickleball games.
Steal the ball? What are they chasing after? Scorpions on the court?
They're coming down, and I legitimately, the other day when I told you, they were flying down, and I thought it was going to take me out, but knock my paddle. I missed the ball because of the crane.
Sure you did.
And now today, a big old goose took a huge old dumper right on our court. Right in the middle of the court.
And then you stepped in it.
Big old dumper.
Yeah. I have no idea what the conversational segue is from I missed a shot in pickleball because of a swooping crane, and then a goose, quote, took a big old dumper on our court. So I'll just say this.
Hey,
more Wilde and Tausch.
Happened.
Straight ahead, stick around.
Wilde and Tausch is presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella at 855-PELLA-WI or visit online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Now, we all experience daily struggles, and with so many concerns to be conscious of, breathing should not be one of them. Mark Tauscher here for Advent, and if you're like me and have had snoring issues, sinus problems, or difficulty breathing, then you'll want to meet the team at Advent. The team of Advent specialists have a few simple steps to help evaluate your individual limitations and get you back to breathing well. Since Advent addressed my snoring and nasal breathing issues, I feel great. I've never slept better. My wife Sarah is incredibly appreciative. The team of Advent specialists listened to my struggles, found the best solution for me, and customized it to my needs. Take my word for it and go to adventknows.com to learn more about simple solutions to snoring, sleep apnea, and nasal breathing problems. And schedule your appointment today, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
An ESPN Radio Extra Point with Ian Fitzsimmons.
Jonathan Taylor, Colts All-Pro running back, is starting the season on the PUP list. A lot of people are impacted, not just Jonathan Taylor for not getting that long-term deal that he's looking for, but also Anthony Richardson. What's a quarterback's best friend besides his offensive line? A running game. And Anthony Richardson, as a rookie quarterback out of Florida who's only started in 13 games, doesn't have one of the best in the business behind him with the Indianapolis Colts this year.
And Ian, I'll give you another one. You're putting both your first-year head coach and your first-year QB in such a predicament. You're putting them in a conundrum because your most offensively skilled weapon is not available because you want to play games with it.
And this is going to bleed into that entire locker room. We start in 1 week, and this feeling, right, is just bleeding through your entire room.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Alex Strofe.
This Badger Minute brought to you by UW Credit Union. For every stage of life, UW Credit Union is here for every you. Proudly serving Wisconsin for over 90 years. Hop in or hop online at uwcu.org to join. You've made it, Badgers fans. It's officially game week, which means it's time to look inside the numbers of the 2023 Wisconsin football program. 2 days until kickoff for maybe the best 1-2 punch in the Big Ten and the country of Braylon Allen and Ches Malusi at running back. Malusi and Allen combined for over 1,700 yards on the ground last season for Wisconsin, which is just short of 76% of all rushing yards by the Badgers in 2022. The duo also combined for 14 touchdowns from scrimmage, and as Ches Malusi thinks,
I think we're best to in the country.
Bundle a 250 series patio door and 8 double-hung windows with hidden screens for as low as $188 per month at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin at PellaWI.com.
Wilde and Tausch is presented by Tito's Handmade Vodka, America's original craft vodka produced in Austin, Texas, and naturally gluten-free. Tito's Handmade Vodka.
What is the study of insects called, Tausch?
God, what is it? It's a funny word, man. Like entomology.
Yeah, entomology.
ENTYNMOLOGY.
ENTOMOLOGY. Entomology.
Might be one of the hardest study deals to spell. I don't know if there's a more difficult study word to spell. Entomology.
Where are you getting this scorpions are able to fly report?
Geriad.
Okay. I see that there is a scorpion fly.
Yeah.
but I'd be curious if just a regular old scorpion flies or not. That's the question that I find myself asking.
It's called evolution, bro. The scorpion evolved into a scorpion fly and decided they needed to fly. So that's what they
Thank
did.
you, Tausch Darwin. All right, so, Jesse, we have... Well, you've lost Big Cat, who says, of course they can't fly; they don't have wings. But again, I don't want to go any further into our entomology of today. What I do want to hear is this story that I predict will be a disappointment for all of us from Jesse. Jesse,
Oh, wow!
the floor is yours.
Great open. Way to go, Jesse.
Just how we drew it up today. So yesterday was a tough day, as we talked about on this show. A lot going on yesterday. Yes. Part of which, and the story begins a little melancholy, but we'll get where we're going. So, over the weekend, my great aunt Betty passed away. She was very old, and so she lived a very full life, and she has passed, and we miss her dearly. She was one of the nicest ladies ever. I think she was the oldest in attendance at our wedding 2 years ago. I think she had that claim to fame. So,
Jason, you remember her?
Yeah, Jason.
I really liked Betty. Mm-hmm. She was my favorite guest at the wedding, right after Levi.
I'll say this: Betty is one of the kindest names. Like, do you ever meet anybody that's boy? That Betty, she's a real blank. Everybody is like, Betty is so nice. Betty has just got that really
sweet talker,
nice,
Betty Crocker.
Sweet syllable. Okay, continue, Jesse.
So, one of Aunt Betty's wishes was for my mom to play her cello at her funeral, whenever that is. So that's coming up. So my mom had her cello, and she's got this song that was picked out, this hymn that they're going to play at the funeral. So my mom wanted to get together and try and practice a little bit before it's showtime here coming up. So she asked if she and my dad could drive up last night to our house, and I have my piano at our house, and she wanted to know if we could just play a little bit, get kind of back in the rhythm of things. I said, absolutely. Now, we had an ESPN Madison fantasy football draft last night.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God. This has taken a turn.
No, you didn't.
Oh, my God.
And... we pay for entry. Like there's stakes.
You didn't.
There's stakes.
You didn't, Jesse.
Oh my God.
So I was gonna go auto draft, like understanding the circumstances.
That would have been the right thing to do. Yes, that would have been the right thing to do.
But then I got 2 rounds in.
Of course he didn't do it.
I got 2 rounds in, and I had CeeDee Lamb and Tony Pollard.
Very, very, very frustrating.
A couple of Cowboys. And I'm like, well, this isn't going well.
Oh, my God.
The little auto draft thing's just giving me Cowboys players because it says they're the best of it. And it was a bad strategy. So I checked it as we're playing a little bit. My mom's working on things, and I'm playing, and I'm like,
oh, my God.
I gotta turn this ship around here.
Dak
This isn't working. I don't want to get Dak. I don't want to get
Zeke
that
Elliott,
defense.
he's not a Cowboy anymore. No, we're not drafting him.
So in between the couple of stanzas, and my mom's figuring out some variations and things she's playing along on the cello, and I'm saying, okay, hold on a second. And then I can pull up the phone. I got to decide whether I want Kenny Pickett or Russell Wilson in round 6. It was kind of a big deal, Got to check on some stats and things, and it felt low in the moment. And I don't know if it was my problem or if it's this is the second of 3 fantasy football drafts. The other one is Sunday night during a bachelor party. That's going to be a disaster. The other one was last Sunday. I had to drive an hour and 15 minutes to Tier 1 Tyler's cabin to do it. Like, do we have a fantasy I feel like a lot is asked of fantasy football drafts where I had to interrupt playing the hymn for Aunt Betty's funeral practice to figure out if I wanted Kenny Pickett or Russell Wilson.
To seem strong. You didn't have to. So your mom, just wait a second. I want to make sure I summarize this correctly. So your mom has to go into the attic to dig out a cello that is one of your Aunt Betty's last wishes on earth was for this to happen. And then they drive up to you to plan because you're a musical guy. And you're going through it, and instead of just giving your hour and a half of undivided attention to work through this one song that you're going to be playing at the funeral of your great aunt who is kind and you love dearly,
Betty.
You decided you needed to go onto your phone to determine Russell Wilson or Kenny Pickett, who is going, and both are going to be average quarterbacks in fantasy anyways. That was what your decision-making process was.
Only after I saw auto draft was not getting the job done. And in fairness, Aunt Betty had first brought this up like 10 years ago, so it's been a while that my mom has known that this was the plan. So we had 10 years to practice if we really wanted.
The question is, was Aunt Betty a Cowboy fan? Was this maybe karma? Or was this maybe something cosmic from beyond that you're drafting Cowboys because of Aunt Betty? Did you ever think of that?
I don't think that was the case. No.
All right, so I think I have a solution for you. I think in her honor, because you interrupted your time rehearsing to play at her funeral, I think your fantasy football team name must have Betty in it. The Apple Brown Betties, the Betty Crocker Rockers, whatever you want to call them, Aunt Betty, whatever, but I think you have to put Betty's name in your team name to honor her memory, since you chose to draft players instead of practicing with your mom.
You drafted Russell Wilson instead of finishing your rehearsal with your mother.
I ended up going Pickett
for her dearest aunt's funeral.
I think the Steelers.
That's where we're at.
Steelers are going to bounce back offensively this year.
Steelers aren't going to have a good year. Maybe Betty is a Steelers fan. Maybe that was divine intervention to get you to pick Kenny Pickett.
And the other thing was, like, I wasn't gonna mention this, like, because my parent, like, this is, big week, big commitment, lot going on. My mom's kind of taking the lead, reaching out to family, letting everybody know this was going. Like, it's been a big week for her. So I wasn't going to mention that this was the case last night, because originally I thought the ESPN Madison draft was last Wednesday, and then there was confusion. They're like, oh, we're doing it this Wednesday. And that was a whole thing.
And you're off on Wednesdays.
Exactly. I should have taken the day yesterday. It would have been everything would have been better yesterday. So I just kind of brought it up as we were getting done eating dinner before we went to go play. Oh, by the way, I got this ESPN Madison fantasy draft I got to, keep an eye on. And I could tell just the disappointment in my parents' eyes when they're like, oh.
You finally got back at your parents for not coming to your 30th.
Well, but it's not even, it doesn't feel like it.
It took you 3 years.
It doesn't feel like it. It feels like I let Aunt Betty down more than I let my parents, got my comeuppance, or got their comeuppance for leaving for my birthday a couple of years ago. Yeah. This, I couldn't tell if this was my problem or if this was a fantasy football problem or
no.
Because also I can't message the league and be like, hey, I hate my team, but I can't draft because we're playing this hymn for Aunt Betty's funeral. I can't just say I'm out. Give me my money back. It's a big dilemma.
Just to clarify, because we've had a discussion on this show before about cousins and second cousins and twice removed, and because we enjoy a good family tree discussion. Aunt Betty, rest her soul, was your great aunt?
Yes, great aunt.
So that would make her your mom's...
My mom's aunt.
Aunt, right.
Yes.
So your mom's mom or dad's sister.
Yeah, my mom's dad's sister. Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, R.I.P. to her.
Yep.
And I hope that she watches over you and your fantasy football team this season that you're going to name in her honor.
Oh, my Lord. Jesse, by the way, very good call on the story, though.
Yes, agreed. Pat more than
really
delivered.
Nicely done.
I feel worse.
Well, you should.
You should.
Did your mom leave last night with the disappointed look in her face?
She had
I can't
to.
believe this is hot.
We got the job done.
Nothing?
They ended up staying a lot longer than I think they intended to. I think they wanted to get out
they
by
had to because you're drafted it's a 3-hour fantasy football draft.
Got Malik Heath in the 12th round.
Saints defense. Saints defense felt like a steal at the point that I got them. It's going to be a good defense this year.
All right. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is who we raised, your mom was saying. All right, we need to play trivia. Please
How
tell
fun
me.
would it have been to have a little recorder in the car with mom and dad driving back home, and just imagine it. Can you believe that he actually did fantasy draft as I was crying,
Meanwhile,
getting this song done, in honor of Aunt Betty.
And then George
How
turns.
could he have done that?
George turns and says, "I can't believe he took Pickett over Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson's going to have a bounce back year in
He's like, I
Denver
can't
with
believe
Sean
the Brewers
Payton."
got beat yesterday. That was unlucky.
All right, Jesse, is it Aunt Betty trivia?
No, it is Brewers trivia. Glad you brought them up, Tausch. State of the Brewers today, since we probably wouldn't have talked about the Brewers otherwise because there's a lot of Goody and LaFleur and things to get to. So, State of the Brewers is today's trivia.
State of the Brewers it is. The category is that. The caller is number 9 because that's where their win streak ended.
I want to make sure whoever calls in understands what they're dealing with this morning. We have a perfect week. So if you're afraid of taking on greatness and you don't want to chase being great, don't call. If you want to put yourself up there and say, yes, I want to take this challenge on, be caller 9.
I thought we treated this like no-hitters. That we don't talk about it when we get this far in. Yeah, I'm aware you're talking about it. You just said it.
We talk about it with 2 questions right on Monday.
Right, and then usually that person gets it wrong because we put the whammy on them. Now we're 3 days in.
Step up.
We are 6
Somebody's
questions
stepping up
away.
And crush it today.
I would bet all of Jesse Nelson's fantasy football winnings that his Apple Brown Betties will win this year.
With that squad that he just started talking about?
Not feeling good about it.
I think that's the squad. I don't think that's going to be the squad.
All right, caller 9 right now. Caller 9. 844-770-3776. 844-770-3776. We'll play trivia next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Unfiltered, shameless, and analytical. ESPN Milwaukee's next afternoon show is Kyle, Brust, and Northman. Weekdays from 2 to 5. And it debuts on Monday, September 11th at 2 o'clock. Right here on 94.5 ESPN.
The wait is finally over.
Bucky by a billion. The Badgers are going to roll. The cheese is going to be flowing. Punch him right in the chin, man.
Wisconsin football kicks off against Buffalo this Saturday at Camp Randall Stadium.
This is no walk through the park. This is a game. You have to bring your A game.
Get pumped with ESPN Wisconsin College Game Day beginning at 12:30 and right after the final whistle on 94.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
Take it to the house this season and enjoy tailgating from your own backyard. Tito's wants to make sure you have the best tailgate on the block. You can win game day gear for your next gathering by entering to win at Tito'sTailgate.com. Be sure to enter by November 15th for your chance to win a Solo Stove Grill, a Broommate back tap for batch cocktails, or a Tito's football jersey. For official rules, visit Tito'sTailgate.com. Must be 21 years old to enter. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
What does summer sound like in a new Chevy? Find the best way to the ballpark with the Chevy Equinox navigation system. Load up the kayaks with room to spare and the spacious Chevy Trailblazer with 60/40 split folding rear seats. Haul out the camper and spend a night roasting marshmallows with the Chevy Silverado. Or feel the roar of the crowd and bring the whole crew along in the Chevy Traverse with seating for up to 8. So what are you waiting for? This summer, happiness is a new Chevy. Visit WisconsinDriveChevy.com. Traverse seating up to 8 standard and LS available on LT with second row bench seat, RS Premier and High Country seat 7.
It's a city from a fairy tale on the Mediterranean Sea.
Netanya, the city of diamonds.
And in this city of diamonds lived a crazy genius named Moses Hadara.
Moses was a mathematician,
a diamond cutter,
and a bit of a theoretical physicist.
Albert Einstein devised a formula, E equals MC squared.
Albert's formula unleashed the power locked inside an atom.
Moses' formula unleashed the power locked inside a diamond.
Moses began with star facets,
kite facets,
upper girdle facets,
lower girdle facets,
and pavilion facets.
But then a voice told him to add 24 new facets, the Moses facets.
When he cut the final one,
Shazam!
Moses unleashed an explosion of light.
That dazzling diamond is known today as the Kessler 81.
See it for yourself.
See it for yourself.
See it for yourself.
At Kessler's.
To find the Kesslers nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Blaine's Farm and Fleet's Labor Day sale is going on now, featuring unbeatable deals on fall essentials for your home, work, and vehicles. Like 5-quart jugs of Valvoline full synthetic motor oil, just $22.99 after sale and $10 mail-in rebate. All Blazer trailer lighting is 10% off for rewards members. Plus, when your car's in the shop, get 10% off in-store purchases with $100 or more spent on tire and auto service. See store for details. All Blaine's Farm and Fleet stores are closed on Monday, September 4th for Labor Day.
Steinhaffel's Labor Day sale is bigger than ever with huge savings throughout the store and hundreds of incredible bonus buys. Start with $100 off your purchase of $19.99 or more. Plus, get a stainless steel 115-can beverage cooler free when you spend $39.99 or more. And take 15% off all clearance furniture and mattresses. Make it even easier when you use Steinhaffel's 72-month financing. It's Steinhaffel's Labor Day sale. Shop in store or online at steinhaffels.com.
It takes a team to meet just about any goal, and that's as true on the football field as it is in the office. So it's good to know that you have the Gordon Flesch Company on your side. For more than 60 years, GFC has provided cutting-edge office technology for companies of all sizes, and as the nation's largest Canon dealer, GFC delivers the latest office technology, serviced, and is supported by the most experienced professionals in the industry. That's business technology managed. Visit gflesh.com to learn more.
You're listening to Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella at 855-PELLA-WI or visit online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Eyes closed. She said I wanna find somebody by 94. Ooh, nah, nah, could it be her, baby? I like
real quick before we play trivia, I just would like to, one of the core tenets on this show, not only when we give credit where credit is due, but we also admit when we're wrong around here.
We do.
Could not have been more wrong about that story. I was we can debate whether or not Jesse made the right decisions within the story, but his judgment that was entertaining stuff. So congratulations.
Good little yarns.
Yeah.
Thank you to everyone who is submitting Betty-themed fantasy football names on
that was
the
my
text
contribution.
line.
I thought that was a pretty good idea, actually.
I'll comb through those throughout the show. Yeah, thanks.
All right, let's welcome in.
You got to get Betty Boop. Betty Boop is probably the most famous Betty, right? Yeah, Betty White, but is Betty Boop more popular?
No,
than
Betty White's got Betty Boop beat.
Betty Boop beat.
I don't see. Have you ever been around? You see the amount of posters that Betty Boop's got?
Now,
She's everywhere.
Betty Crocker and Betty White have Betty Boop beat.
I would agree. Mm-hmm.
Send that over to Jen. Let's have Jen do a Betty list and see where she comes down on that. Yeah, she's the list queen. I want to see where she ranks Bettys.
All right,
there's a lot of Bettys.
All right, hey, you put it out there. The pressure that our contestant is under here for a perfect week.
Hey, Jason. Yeah, I understand. And you know what? When you're playing, pressure's a privilege.
Well, I know.
Pressure's a privilege.
But I'd like to get to the questions to see how he fares. Okay, then.
All right.
And by the way, not only do we have a perfect week going, but we have a first-time contestant to try and keep it going.
Oh, I like this. He ain't scared.
We'll see how he fares. It is Mike in Edgerton. Mike, good morning, buddy. How you doing?
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Pressure is a privilege was also once said by Billie Jean King, but it has now become a Tauschism. Are you embracing the pressure of a perfect week on Wilde and Tausch Trivia?
Once I heard that it was all about the greatness, I had to call for the first time.
Yeah. Listen,
I love it.
Atta baby, Mike.
Love it.
That's what I'm talking about. And I'm going to be honest with you, Mike. First question is not a gimme by any stretch. So here we go.
Not even a first-time contestant. He's never called before. First time anything.
I respect that. That tells you a lot about Mike. He wants greatness, and he's chasing it, and let's see if he gets it. If the season ended right now, how would the Milwaukee Brewers begin the 2023 Major League Baseball postseason? Would they be in the wild card round hosting the Phillies? Would they have a first-round bye to the NLDS? Or would they be at home with Dunzo the Clown?
I believe they would be in the wild card round against the Phillies.
Let's go. That's it, Mike. Let's go.
The streak has reached
I know
7.
they're not home with Dunzo.
You are correct.
We all know that. Dunzo's right arm knows that, as it was severed over the weekend.
All right, so that's 3, 6, 9. That's 10 in a row.
Better than the Brewers.
5 to go. 5 to go for a perfect week. 2 to go before George Webb gives all of our contestants free hamburgers. All right.
By the way, George Webb is not doing that. You can check the official trivia rules at ESPNWisconsinContest.com.
He's not giving out. Yeah, he's not giving out burgers for the Brewers either. So,
all right. Question 2, Mike. The Brewers play the Phillies this Sunday at noon at AmFam Field. On which of these streaming platforms?
Oh, come on.
Sheesh.
Will Sunday's Brewers? Here's my question. Knowing it's a perfect week, does Jesse intentionally then make the questions harder to prevent the perfect week?
This is mostly a public service announcement, so everyone doesn't get up at noon on Sunday and complain that they can't find the Brewers game.
This question sucks.
We're doing everyone a favor.
Except Mike and Edgerton. All right, let me restart. The Brewers play the Phillies this Sunday at noon at AmFam Field. On which of these streaming platforms will Sunday's Brewers-Phillies game be exclusively televised? Will it be on Apple TV Plus, Peacock, or Amazon Prime?
Well, I'm going to go with what I hope it's on because I don't have 2 of those.
Oh, no.
I'm going to go with Peacock.
Wow.
Karma is my boyfriend and also on our side.
Wow.
Here
Just
we go.
wait a second. So, Mike, you don't have Apple TV or Amazon Prime, but you have Peacock?
That's the biggest upset here.
That is an upset.
Yeah,
I don't know anybody that would have that.
You know, when they moved the office to Peacock, I had to do something.
Okay.
You owe this all to the office then because
you owe this to Steve Carell?
Right. When he said, I
think
don't have
the
2 of
perfect
them.
week owes Steve Carell.
Yeah.
Mike, when you said I don't have 2 of them, there was no way I would have thought the one you did have was Peacock. So the trivia gods are with us.
It's incredible.
That's 11 in a row. Tausch has question 3 for hopefully 3 in a row for you and 12 in a row overall.
Here we go.
I'm nervous.
Freddie Peralta leads all Brewers pitchers with 11 wins this season. Which pitcher leads all Brewers pitchers in losses this season? Is it Corbin Burns, Eric Lauer, or Freddie Peralta?
Well, I know it's not Lauer. Burns. I think he's trying to trick me. I'm going to go with Freddie Peralta.
Yeah! Look at you.
Let's go.
Wow. And he got inside of Jesse's head. That was beautiful.
All right, Mike. Awesome, awesome debut. Now we've got another Sal Frelick on our hands. What a debut on Wilde and Tausch Trivia. You got all 3 right. You kept the perfect week alive. The pressure ratchets up. That privilege will go to someone else tomorrow as they will try to keep the week intact.
You know Jesse is going to be doing this.
And I'm off tomorrow, so I don't have to deal with the ramifications. And a holiday weekend, we'll all forget about it by Tuesday. Tomorrow you're in trouble.
Mike, you got 4 entries, and you made a hell of a debut, buddy. Good job. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
That is Wilde and Tausch Trivia.
Fun.
That was talk about the drama.
You know what? The chops.
Oh, he chops.
Is now the king. He is the choppiest of all trivia.
He's the Christian Bale of trivia.
Never calls in, listens, and he says, "You know what? There was a call to action. You know what? I'm stepping up. I'm going to grab my phone and I'm going to go crush this."
Yeah.
And Jesse threw 2 curveballs at him. He sat back and drilled both of them.
Yeah.
Great job by Mike.
Amazing performance.
He's the hero we needed and the hero that we deserve, quite frankly.
And we watched that on Peacock.
Christian Bale, yes. All right, we'll kick off the 10 o'clock hour on that riding high moment in 2 minutes. So stick around. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin, the ESPN app, and Wisconsin On Demand.
Life's better with an auto policy from American Family Insurance. No matter what dreams you're driving towards. That's because our expert agents will make you feel totally protected with the right auto coverage at the right price. You'll also save up to 23% when you bundle auto with home. American Family Insurance. Get a quote, find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Hey, it's ESPN Milwaukee's Gabe Neitzel, ready to celebrate Labor Day week on 94.5 ESPN. Sponsored by Perky's Old Fashioned, a ready-to-pour bourbon or brandy mix with the alcohol already in it. Get perked up this Labor Day with an easier-than-ever Wisconsin Old Fashioned. Just add the soda of your choosing to Perky's brandy or bourbon mix and enjoy. Find your nearest Perky's location at perkyspirits.com and get 15% off Perky's merch using the code PERKY15. Happy Labor Day from 94.5 ESPN and Perky's Old Fashioned, your bartender in a bottle.
There's only one place in Milwaukee where every day of the year, dreams and reality get together for a great time. Where you can walk in a player and walk out a winner. That place, Potawatomi Casino Hotel. With fantastic dining, gaming, sports betting, a luxurious hotel, and endless ways to win, the excitement never stops. The only thing missing is you. Your win is waiting. Only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Visit our website to learn more. Must be 21 to enter casino.
Are you looking for the perfect restaurant for your next night out? Then make Aria, the acclaimed restaurant inside St. Kate, your next dinner destination. Specializing in artisanal American cuisine, Aria features carefully prepared seasonal entrees along with a robust selection of craft cocktails, wine, and local beer. Join them on Sundays for the restaurant's famous trademark chicken, served family style with sides like mashed potatoes, goat cheese biscuits, and more. Make your plans today to dine at Aria. Learn more and make reservations at aria@stkate.com. That's aria@stkate.com.
Homer here. You're listening to 94.5 ESPN, WKTI, and WKTI HD, Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
I've been grinding so long, been trying it for years. And I got nothing to show, just climbing this rope right here. And if there's a man upstairs, he kept bringing me rain. But I've been sending up prayers and something's changed. I think I finally found my hallelujah. I've been waiting for this moment all my life. Now all my dreams are coming true.
The 10 o'clock hour of Wilde and Tausch begins now. And while Jesse is still curating some great Betty-themed nicknames for his fantasy football team.
Betty and the Jets, clubhouse leader.
It's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Too bad you don't have Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback. We'll get to some more of those, but I really want to get to this exchange that Goody and I had yesterday because, and I had one with LaFleur too.
Hey, Jason, before this, Jesse, where did Jordan Love go in the fantasy draft?
Good question.
I saw him select. I think Strofe picked him up in the ESPN Madison League, so he went early. He went earlier than anticipated. Like that's the thing with Packers fans, though. When you're in a fantasy football draft like this, people are going to overvalue Romeo Doubs, Jordan Love, AJ Dillon. Like those guys are all going to go because we know them and we feel like we want to cheer for them. So I think he ended up going in.
I don't know.
It's a 16
last year,
team.
I told you.
Sorry, go ahead.
I told you last year in our fantasy team draft, the Packers went in the third round, which is unheard of. And by the way, we overdrafted him when they got picked in the third round.
That's what I'm saying. I think Jordan Love ended up going in round 8 of a 16-team league.
So Rodgers is going ahead of Jordan Love in most fantasy drafts, correct?
Yeah, easily, right?
I don't know. That's why I asked. I'm not doing fantasy outside of team.
In the two that I've been a part of, Aaron Rodgers has gone before Jordan Love, yes.
Okay, fair enough.
But this is me basing things on my life experience.
I was just about to say. Also, I don't know anyone who's been sprayed by a skunk.
That's actually I'm interested in. I'm not interested in how many of your friends were licked by a toad and ended up getting some type of stuff. So no.
I beg your pardon?
Are toads poisonous? No. My buddies get licked by toads all the time, and they don't have any issues.
Okay, all right. I don't think the toads are the ones doing the licking of the humans, though, right? Like, this is where, like, the
toad licks you.
Depends how close you get to the toad. I don't know. It depends on what you do with the toad.
Oh my God! Can we get
toads typically have some type of poisonous, like
they do.
Some certain toads have issues.
Yeah, they do. Stella got too close to one, and she was having a little bit of an allergic reaction to him. Yes, that 100% true. That I can confirm through my own life experiences.
There you
go. We'll get to where Aaron Rodgers is being drafted in various fantasy leagues a little bit later. I want to get to this young team that we keep talking about. I brought up your favorite answer from Goody, the one that you wanted to be placed on a hotkey on Jesse's board.
Is it on that hotkey yet or not?
No, of course. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
He was busy with his fantasy draft and learning his hymn for Aunt Betty's funeral. So, I brought it back up to Goody yesterday. Here is how Goody responded to this young roster that he's built.
When you started this as a GM, you didn't have a 16-player practice squad, and you didn't have the flexibility that you have with it now. How is your philosophy in terms of the types of players you want on it?
Hang on, this is the wrong one.
That's not the right audio.
I was skeptical. Hang on a second. Hang on.
Is it Wednesday? Must be Wednesday.
Aunt Betty is so disappointed in
Here
you
we
right
go.
now.
I got the right one now. Here we go.
You had that great answer a couple weeks ago about how we're here to win championships.
It was a
not
great answer.
Win some games, and you have to give guys room to grow, to get better. So now that we kind of have your initial roster and we see how young it is, especially on offense, I'm wondering what's realistic to expect from this team. You've built Super Bowl caliber teams before. They don't usually have an average age under 25. I'm wondering, what are your realistic expectations? Because obviously you want to win as many games as you can, but you also need to be realistic with the level of youth you have.
Yeah, I don't. Sometimes youth can be a benefit. It's a young man's game, and you need the legs, you need the speed. Certainly, there's an experience factor these guys are going to have to go through. So, for me, the expectation is to go out and try to win every game that we play. You're not going to win them all. I mean, in my lifetime, nobody has, right? So, but at the same time, you got to learn and grow from every situation, whether we win, whether we lose, the ups and downs. You have to learn and grow from that and continue to get better. The teams that have a chance to win a championship are the teams that are getting better each week and really kind of towards that end of the season and are at their best. So that's what I expect. That's my expectations, and hopefully that will lead us to accomplish the goals that we want to accomplish. But I know that there's been a lot of talk about the youth and all that, but it's like that's no excuse. I mean these guys were brought in for us to be better than we were last year, and they were all brought here for a reason. So now they got to come together as a team, and they got to do that, and that takes a lot of time and effort. And certainly guys who have more experience were more used to that, but the expectations don't change.
So the expectation is to be better than last year's team.
Better than last year. That's it. That's why this is all going on.
So then, is it a failure if they're 7-10 or 6-11? Because I don't think it is.
It's not. And I think Goody he's answering the question honestly, and I firmly believe he believes in his guys. He put all this time and effort into bringing him in, so he believes it. But he also knows. He knows that experience does matter and it's important, and trying to figure out how to come together as a football team. But he said a couple of things there that I thought were interesting. In the young man's game, that has always been, I think, general managers always want that until you get to that point where you really feel like, all right, now if we can find one or two guys like Goody did in 20 and 21, brought in a couple of the older guys to kind of solidify some spots. And now you're resetting completely, and it's new to most of us. But he's right. You do need speed. You need athleticism. And I don't know if it was a different question from Goody's presser yesterday, but basically they need to get more athletic and faster.
Right.
Mission accomplished. I don't think anybody can argue that. Now, are you better? I don't think you're going to be better short term, but it's a long season. And I think Goody's plan is figure out a way to steal some games early, continue to grow through coaching and everything else. You're going to get more and more confident. And, hey, catch a hot streak, and you never know. You get in these playoffs, crazy stuff happens. We all have seen that. That's, I think, his goal. I think he'll be really disappointed if this team doesn't make the playoffs.
Do you think he believes he has a playoff team?
I think he believes that this roster is good enough while it's growing that they can get enough wins and play well enough at the end of the season. You know, coaches look at this, and every coach I've ever heard talk has said, we better not be the same football team we are in August that we are in December. Mike McCarthy pounded that point home. And you know what his record in December was?
Right.
Pretty doggone good.
Yeah.
So you build and get to a certain point, and you're playing your best ball. Now, if you fall behind the 8 ball and you're 3-10 or 3-11, you can't do it. But you look at the schedule, you understand where you're at, and you have a lot more belief than the outside of world does. You can get 5-6 wins, and you start getting after Thanksgiving. You get to 9-10 wins in this expanded playoff system. Yeah, I believe that Goody actually believes. I don't think it's coach speak or GM speak. I think he believes that the NFC is weaker. I think he believes that this team is better than we think. And I think he thinks by December this is going to be a really good football team. I don't think he thinks it's going to be a great team right away. I think he realizes the limitations, but he's hoping that this defense and better special teams will help along with the running game to keep games close. You steal some, and then we keep getting better. Dobbs gets better. Reed gets better. Wicks gets better. Christian Watson is the guy. And Jordan Love continues to get more and more comfortable. I think he thinks we'll get good enough, and then we will be a really good football team. So either we make the playoffs, and who knows, or we feel like we did in Mike Sherman's first year when we finished up and thought, yeah, we got something. We're going to keep rolling, and we're going to be much better in 2001, and they're going to be saying we're going to be much better in 2024 because of how this year finished.
All right, I believe in the second half of that. Do you, yes or no, not hedge, not anything else, do you believe Goody will be right and the Green Bay Packers in 2023 will make the playoffs, yes or no? I do not. I do not believe they're making the playoffs. I will be happy to be wrong because it'll be a hell of a story.
Do you believe Goody?
I don't.
Do you believe Goody believes it?
I do, but that's not what I'm asking. I definitely believe he thinks that.
Pull it from your account.
Nope, I don't do that anymore.
Why?
From your account.
You let one guy call you a psychopath and you say, the hell with it, I'm done.
No, there was the psychopath, there was the effing moron, there was, no. Done. Thank you. Goodbye. No. Do you believe the Green Bay Packers will make the playoffs in 2023?
Yeah,
yes or no? No hedge.
Pull it from your account. Yeah, I think they... So, no, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year. I do not.
Okay. But do you believe Goody believes that?
I do.
I do too. All right. Well, that's great when we're in alignment. All right. I want to get to how Matt...
Is 8 wins... Here's the question. Is 8 wins going to be good enough? I don't know the answer.
I think it might be, but I don't think that... I might go up to 7. I do not think... because the other thing that concerns me is that when you have a team this young and you have a dearth of proven commodities, it means your depth isn't great. If you notice, nobody was claiming anybody that the Packers released. Nobody.
Correct.
And what that tells me, in part, in addition to what I watched, is that not only do they have young frontline players, but they have even less proven backups. I like their offensive line depth. Beyond that, we know that offensive lines do not have all 5 starters start all 17 games. That does not happen.
I think Green Bay's in a pretty good spot there.
I agree. But I think, in general, I think their depth is going to be a problem. And if they have injury issues, they're going to be in real trouble.
Here's what I'm going to do, because you asked me that question, and I do believe there's going to be struggle city in the beginning of the season. I think they will get better.
I agree.
I'm putting it all on week 1. I'm answering your question. No, hear me out. I'm answering your question based off of week 1.
So now you're deferring, like you're deferring the second half?
No. I'm not hedging. I'm saying if Green Bay beats Chicago week 1, they're making the playoffs. If they don't, they're not. That's what I'm saying.
Sound graph. All right, we'll see.
I would normally not say that, but I firmly believe getting off to a good start and gaining confidence, it's more important. It's always critical in a locker room. It's even more critical when you have an unproven quarterback that you don't have complete buy-in. As much as you hear it, guys don't know yet, is Jordan Love. They all believe it, but they don't know it. It hasn't been verified. You go down and beat Chicago down there, and especially if you do something late and score and get points, I'm telling you, that accelerates the process. They beat Chicago. I think they're going to make the playoffs.
All right, well, we'll find out in 11 days if that turns out to be the case.
What's your answer on this poll that Jason's going to pull?
I believe the Green Bay Packers will make the playoffs this season. Yeah. The reason I believe it is because the
that's
NFC
the kiss of death.
It's because the NFC is weak. And it has more to do with the state of the other teams around them than it does about them. And I think a lot of teams like the Vikings are viewing this season that way, where this can be a rebuild, retool, recombobulate on the fly and still make the playoffs and find success and appease everybody then. Because then your GM and your head coach, if you want to get younger and retool, you can do that. But you can also be good enough to compete and get a chance in the dance at the end of the year. I think that's possible for a lot of NFC teams. And I think the Packers are one of them because of the favorable schedule early on.
I hope you're right. I really do. I hope you're right, because it's a hell of a story if you're right. I'm just a skeptic, and I don't need Game 1 to decide that for me. I'm going to be a skeptic, and if I'm wrong, I will be more than happy to be wrong. It'll be awesome if I'm wrong. All right, I want to play what Matt LaFleur said because I would be curious to know if his answer influences you at all as well, because his was not quite so... I don't want to say it wasn't optimistic, rosy, but it was definitely hedgier and definitely more realistic in terms of the challenges that he knows he's going to be facing with this team. We'll get to that coming up. You hear the slogan all the time. One call, that's all. David Gruber and his team, you hear it, but what does it really mean? Well, it means that they focus on the legal aspect while their clients are able to focus on healing. So just one call, and they handle the rest. They will provide the best care, service, and representation. That is their priority, and there is no fee. There is no cost to call, get a consultation, or to retain their firm. There's never a fee in your case until you win it. And you know you're going to win with a great team like them. They are one of the largest personal injury firms in the Midwest, but they're still family-owned and operated, so they've got both that hometown feel and they've got the large, powerful team with the resources they need to get you taken care of. So check out Gruber-Law.com. That's Gruber-Law.com to find out more about their firm and everything that Gruber Law Offices does in our community, or just give them a call, 414-276-6666. 414-276-6666. Gruber Law Offices, one call. That's all. We'll get to Matt LaFleur and what he had to say about this young team. Next, it's Wilde and Tausch.
A new sound for ESPN Milwaukee in the afternoons. Every weekday from 2 to 5, it's the trio of Kyle Wallace, Ben Brust, and Brad Nortman. And tune into the Homer Hour during your drive home from 5 to 6. The new 94.5 ESPN Afternoons debut on September 11th. You want chaos? Oh, we've got chaos. Scalzo and Brust. Weekdays from 4 to 6.
Somebody was trying to tell the city of Milwaukee to shut down the radio station because Ben doesn't support the home team, and Ben didn't say anything bad about the Packers.
You know what this is?
All he's doing is wearing a New York Jets jersey with Aaron Rodgers on the back.
Scalzo and Brust. Weekdays 4 to 6 on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Bud Light.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tausch here for my friends at Kohler Services. Treat yourself to a new shower this summer. Kohler Services is a local end-to-end bath and shower design and remodel service brought to you by Kohler, a family-owned in Wisconsin for 150 years. Kohler is the only manufacturer offering fast, professional installation and care for life. Start enjoying your bath or shower right now with a special offer. Visit kswisconsin.com to request your free quote and tell them that I sent you over. Again, that's kswisconsin.com.
Hey, it's Jason Wilde for Associated Bank. Show your Brewers pride everywhere you go with Brewers Checking, only from Associated Bank. Score exclusive perks like a one-of-a-kind Brewers Debit MasterCard, 10% off at the team store, even express check-in at the Associated Bank gate. And if you want a VIP game day, the Associated Bank Power Alley is for everyone. Contact the Brewers ticket office to learn how you could treat your crew to a full buffet and private bar overlooking left center field. Brewers Checking. Learn more at associatedbank.com/Brewers today. Member FDIC.
Juniper Pools is kicking off football season in a big way this year. Purchase a spa between July 29th and August 31st, and you win when our team wins. If the green and gold win the big game, you'll receive your hot tub purchase for free. If they win the division, you get $1,000 back, and if they make the wild card playoff game, you score a $250 in-store gift card. For complete promotional terms and conditions, visit poolpeople.com. Get ready to relax and back the green and gold this season with Juniper Pools on West Wisconsin Avenue by Costco in Appleton.
The Bog in Saukville is Ozaukee County's best golf experience. 18 championship holes designed by the legendary golfer Arnold Palmer, settled amongst 250 acres of beautiful private land. The Bog caters to golfers of all skill levels, offering a golf experience unlike any other. Come enjoy the finest golf greens in Wisconsin, and after your round, enjoy a bite to eat in our restaurant or out on our new patio bar overlooking the 18th green. It's time to golf, Wisconsin. It's time to enjoy the Bog.
Blaine's Farm and Fleet's Labor Day sale is going on now, featuring unbeatable deals on fall essentials for your home, work, and vehicles. Like $10 off all cat work boots. Cans of Seafoam are $8.48, and 5 quarts of Royal Purple Motor Oil start at $25.99 after sale and $10 mail-in rebate. Plus, when your car's in the shop, get 10% off in-store purchases with $100 or more spent on tire and auto service. See store for details. All Blaine's Farm and Fleet stores are closed on Monday, September 4th for Labor Day.
Brian, why are you stacking books on the floor?
I want to stand while I work. Standing desks are all the rage these days.
Well, it's a good thing that these desks move up and down. You did know that, right?
What? They do?
Yeah, we're not messing around here.
This is great. Now, only if I had a chair to swivel around in.
Do you just not pay attention to everybody else's desks?
Well, no wonder I'm not getting much done these days.
Coakley Brothers and Brothers Interiors, the official moving and furniture provider of GKB Milwaukee.
Hey, it's ESPN Wisconsin's Ben Brust. Men can be their own worst critics, especially as we get older and compare our current self to the younger version. The experts at Forward Healthy Lifestyles in Germantown help men with testosterone optimization, regenerative medicines, heart health screenings, weight loss, and yes, sexual enhancement services. Forward Healthy Lifestyles can offer regained energy and endurance, more muscle and tone, enhanced performance, joint therapies, and more. Change your life and stop comparing who you are now to who you used to be. Visit forwardhealthylifestyles.com for a free consultation.
On air, online, and on demand. Get all your favorite ESPN Wisconsin content anywhere you get your podcast for free. The new Wisconsin On Demand. It's free, it's everywhere, and it's for you.
Remember I talked about during camp, they had 91 players on their roster, and 56 of them were either rookies or 1 year of NFL experience or less. As the roster stands now, because officially Matt Orzech, their long snapper, is not yet on the roster. That'll become official today. They have 26 rookies and first-year players out of 53. 27 out of 53. So, more than half. That's a lot. That's how young they are. So I asked Matt LaFleur about how that might alter his coaching. Here is that exchange yesterday.
Matt, it is your job, though, to figure out the best way to make them successful, obviously. So as a coach, when you are this young, especially on the offensive side of the ball, do you have to coach differently? Are there different ways that you have to kind of tweak your coaching style to fit the young group that you have?
Well, I think everything about coaching is just learning your players and how do they best respond. And some guys will respond to a foot up their ass, and some guys are going to need, to put an arm around them. And that's just the way it is. That's the way players are, and it's our responsibility to try to learn these guys and also learn what they do best and try to showcase that by the positions that we put them in. And are we going to have to scale back sometimes? Maybe. I don't know. We're kind of getting into that whole game plan process right now, and we'll kind of you just got to be open-minded to me, and throughout the course of the season, knowing that you're going to evolve, and it's always the fine line of just, what's too much for, I think, any team that you're on, whether you're old or young, and again, just trying to put these guys in the best position possible.
So now, Jesse also has another clip that, Jesse, let me know when it's ready, but he actually talks about how you can't focus on the results and the outcome, which I thought was interesting. Here is another part of him discussing what he's up against as a coach this year.
I think you just take each moment in stride and try to continue to learn and grow no matter what the outcome. And you can't get totally focused on the outcome. You got to be, I'm a process-driven guy anyways, and I think our coaches and players are as well. And so you just take everything in stride and try not to, I never want to put a label on this group or box us in a corner and say what we can and cannot do. I mean, we're going to keep pushing them and push them as far as they can go.
All right, so can't necessarily focus on the outcome.
There.
I agree with him.
A lot there.
I absolutely agree with him on process. Totally agree. Love it.
Okay, hold up a second, because we all hear that, and it's such a buzzword. So what if your process sucks?
Yeah, that's why you have to focus on the process. Make sure it doesn't suck.
No,
and then
but
the results
you're saying
follow.
I'm not going to play the results. No, hold up. So I believe in this whole process-driven, and you're going to do what you need to do, but it's like losing weight. Oh, I have my process. Well, you don't lose any weight. Well, maybe your process sucks.
Yeah.
Maybe you need a different process.
Agreed.
So I don't understand this whole the idea that there's not going to be the results and everything else. You shouldn't just play the results. That's what the media does.
Yeah.
As a coach and
Hate
as
that.
players, you don't. But let's not act and sit here and say, oh, I'm sticking with my process. I'm going to do this. There's a lot of times you're not doing the right process. Okay? So all of this process-driven and all this other stuff, he doesn't know what process is going to work with this team. He doesn't know this team yet.
Right. So his focus is on figuring out the process. That's what he's saying, Tausch.
Oh, now you're figuring out the process, or you have your process and you're going to stick with your process?
Well, no, he's going to have to tweak his process to fit these young guys. He says in there about scaling back potentially, because how much volume can they handle, right? That's part of the process, isn't it?
I'm so sick of people saying, oh, it's a process. I'm doing this process. Sometimes you don't have enough time to let your process evolve, or sometimes your process sucks.
Right, and it's his job to figure out the process that's going to work for this team.
It is his job to figure it out, but it's his job to win games. And what I don't want to have happen is, well, you know what, we're not winning games because we're still trying to figure out our process. We don't know what our process is. Well, our process will work. Okay, what's beautiful about sports is there's a scoreboard. And I don't care if you don't play the results. At some point, your process is judged. It's not judged just by Soldier Field or Lambeau Field, but there comes a point where it's like, boy, our process, we're doing great things. Hugh Jackson, you're 1-31. No, your process sucks, and your results suck, and you're out of a job. So there's a fine line of saying, well, this is my process, or this is my process. And for anyone to just tell you, I get a little, I don't want to say squeamish.
I can tell you're
but I get a
bothered
little
by
bit
this.
when you say, I'm not going to worry about the results, I'm going to just worry about the process. That typically, Nick Saban says this, there's a lot of people that say this. But your process has to start showing you results or yielding results, or you know what most people do? They change processes. And then do you actually trust the process? No, you don't.
Right.
You trust that I'm changing process.
I think he has to figure out the process that works for this team because it's so vastly different than the first 4 teams he coached. So
Agreed.
He has to believe in certain core tenets of his process, but he has to figure out what's going to allow a Jaden Reed or a Malik Heath or a Tucker Kraft to be effective so we can get results at some point, as opposed to, like, I don't know about you. I think he's going to spend the first quarter of the season trying to figure out exactly what puts these guys in the best position to succeed. And I think what he's saying is that the results may not be what they want because they're still trying to figure out the best process for this many children on his team. I think that's what that is translated.
Okay,
and he's
first
saying,
off, let's slow our roll with this children.
I like saying it,
children.
though. Child care, yes.
You could say it. It's
kindergarten
it's
class.
I'm
yes.
just being honest. It's really dumb. It's not kindergarten class. It's not.
Dumb is strong.
It's not.
Yeah, I
it's
obviously
dumb.
don't think they're 6-year-olds.
What do you define as a child? What's a child?
I'm sorry. They're all grown men that are very inexperienced in the National Football League.
Oh. All right.
Because I was being literal, of course.
You're Mr. Literal. So don't get me started on that.
Okay. All right. Just because you don't like to trust
Jason,
the process.
the only reason that bothers me is because, listen, I think we all understand that there is a process to get to where you're going. But to try and say anything of the nature that it's not about results is misleading, because it is. And results can be different. You don't have to. Results can be, well, I'm 13-4. Hey, pretty good result. You could also say, well, you know what? 8-9. My process was good. My results, I can live with this because my process was good. But to try and act as if there's not some type of scoreboard or the results, you're only judged. Nobody is judging your process. Okay, they're just not. Well, I went through my draft process, and I felt like Eugene McCaslin was going to be my next stud linebacker, or I felt like Tony Mandrich was going to be my great offensive tackle. That was my process. Were you right? You weren't.
All right, you don't like the process. Thank you. You made yourself clear.
I do like the process. What I don't like is going back. That is a crutch. I believe that's a crutch.
We both just said we don't think they're making the playoffs. And we also said
they beat the Bears, they will.
Okay. All right, you've become very fun today.
Do you not understand? Do you understand my point?
I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying to you is you can't if you're going to sit here and say you don't think they're going to make the playoffs, and then you changed it to whether they win or lose on September 10th, and you're going to say that you're like your 2001 team, right? Or your 2007 team were set up by 2 teams that didn't make the playoffs but finished strong. If his process doesn't yield winning early in the season, but that process continues and they're pretty damn good at the end of the year, but they don't make the playoffs, his statement is absolutely true, man.
Yeah.
Because the process will have led them into 2024.
That's not what I'm saying, though. I'm saying I'm fine with if that's how you're going about it. I don't want you. You're not judged on your process. You're judged by your results. That's all I'm saying.
Are you going to judge them early in the season?
I am
Are you going
not.
to judge on their results? Then you're judging. You're gonna...
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. Are we as a show going to judge them on the results early in the season? The answer is yes.
I'm not.
We are.
I'm not.
Okay. Jason, I can't wait to read your articles and listen to you on this show.
What do you mean?
I know. You're going to be... I just can't wait for you not to react and to just be like, this is all part of the process, guys.
I will definitely.
They got beat by Chicago.
I guarantee you I'm going to say that. I can guarantee you I'm going to say that's part of the process. Now,
I can't wait, because when you do, when you make a blasphemous statement... Nobody's grumpy.
Listen,
I'm not grumpy.
But here's the thing. You're the point that you're arguing, which is thrown off the clock considerably, is I don't understand it because I'm not going to hold them to the same standard that I would have held the 2021 Packers to when they were built to win right away. And we knew that they were a Super Bowl contender. So I'm not going to hold them to the same standard early in the season than if they crap them. Like, we crushed them when they wet the bed in each of their openers the last 2 years, because that's not what they were this year.
Yeah, if Justin Fields runs for 270 and they beat us 31-6, you're not going to crush them because it's part of the process. That's what you're telling me.
Not the way I crushed last year's team. Not the way I crushed the 21 team for getting blown out in their opener by the Saints. No,
you understand why because here's the deal. I don't believe you might be the one exception. Because I can assure you, Packer fans are not going to just sit back and say, "Well, they lost 31-6." But don't worry about it because the process is good. We're going to be fine.
Yeah, great to have you.
Maybe
you got
and
there.
And if they're 0-3, because Jason, I know how this goes. You'll say that now, but you will be critical and you will ask questions. If they're 0-3. And they've lost 3 games in a row, you're telling me you're going to say, boy, Matt, I really think your process is working and you're getting better and better, even though you're getting your butt. That's what you're trying to tell me.
It's not.
I don't buy that for a minute. I don't.
All right, I need you to tell me about Fortrea and their process of clinical trials, and then I'll try and explain myself further after you do that.
All right, even though their name has changed, they remain committed to bringing you the same great experience, professionalism, and new opportunities and process under the new Fortrea name. Same great people, same great location for over 40 years in business. Got a new website. It's FortreaClinicalTrials.com. It's FORTREA clinicaltrials.com. And if you're looking for a little extra spending cash, you want to take a vacation, you want to work on your process, Fortrea's got you covered. Healthy adults ages 18 to 60 with a BMI of 18 to 32. Study involves 2 stays of 15 nights, 7 follow-up visits, and you can make yourself $13,820 for your time and participation. Again, go to FortreaClinicalTrials.com. That's Fortrea, Fortrea, clinicaltrials.com.
All right, we'll continue to debate this process business.
Sick of saying the word process.
I don't think you were, because you managed to inject it into your Fortrea read like 6 times. So well done.
Hey guys, we're 0-5 and we've only scored 10 points, but I think this process is good. So don't worry about it. Jason Wilde's article, that's his headline on the State Journal. Don't worry about the pack. The process is good.
Whoa, Nelly!
And you're going to need the Academy to help you with that headline. I would like to explain, if the Packers start 0-3, what my question will be. I will tell you what that is, and we'll see how that goes. Next, it's Wilde and Tausch.
Wilde and Tausch is presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella at 855-PELLA-WI or visit online at PellaWI.com/radio.
You're just going to have to live with it. That's what I told myself. And if you can believe it, that's what the doctors told me.
Since Andy was a boy, he had health issues, which later we would find were primarily due to his trouble breathing. So for 36 years, Andy lived with about 85% blockage in his nose. He had to breathe through his mouth, because when he tried to breathe through his nose, it felt like he was being suffocated. It affected his sleep, his work life, and his ability to play sports. And he wasn't going to let it ruin his life anymore. So he came to Advent. As bad as it was, his problem required a simple solution. In-office balloon sinuplasty and turbinate reduction. Procedures you won't find offered by big box healthcare. This is Dr. Madan Kandula. It's definitely possible that your nasal breathing problems have a simple solution too. You can hear Andy's story in his own words at AdventKnowsAndy.com and begin on your path to breathing well and living better.
AdventKnows.com. Results may vary. Cousin Subs just got better. With our newest mobile app update, we've made it easier to purchase your favorite subs and sides with Apple or Google Pay and the ability to make split payments. And that's not all. Can we get your digits? Sign up today for our new text messaging program to unlock exclusive coupons and offers at cousinsubs.com or via our app. Cousin Subs. We believe in better.
Over the past year, we've been hard at work improving our sales processes, expanding and remodeling our facilities, investing in new technology, and continuing our commitment to serve our customers, employees, and community. That's why at Boucher, when our customers leave the dealership, we hope we've made a customer for life. Whether you're in need of a new vehicle, are stopping in for routine maintenance, or are in need of collision work, we will be here to help. With 20 locations throughout southeastern Wisconsin and 30 brands, we've got thousands of new and used vehicles for you to choose from. Our dedicated employees have been named a 2022 top workplace for the past 11 years, and we always have been and will continue to be family-owned and operated. Proud to be your Wisconsin family dealership group since 1977. Visit us today at Boucher.com.
Hey, it's ESPN Milwaukee's Gabe Neitzel, ready to celebrate Labor Day week on 94.5 ESPN. Sponsored by Perky's Old Fashioned, a ready-to-pour bourbon or brandy mix with the alcohol already in it. Get perked up this Labor Day with an easier-than-ever Wisconsin Old Fashioned. Just add the soda of your choosing to Perky's brandy or bourbon mix and enjoy. Find your nearest Perky's location at perkyspirits.com and get 15% off Perky's merch using the code PERKY15. Happy Labor Day from 94.5 ESPN and Perky's Old Fashioned, your bartender in a bottle.
Kessler's works with crazy genius diamond cutters around the globe.
But we keep our crazy genius jewelry designers right here at home, where we can keep them busy.
Monica, I heard we gave our design team a challenge.
Yes, we gathered all 14 of them together and made their eyes sparkle with joy. What did you say? I said we wanted each of them to design a pendant that looks and feels like springtime.
Springtime! New life!
14 designers? 14 pendants?
Yes, and we manufactured exactly 8 copies of each of these 14 designer pendants.
There are only 112 of these limited edition pendants in the whole world?
Yep, and they will sell for only $299.
Wow.
One last thing, we're donating all the profits to the charity of the designer's choice.
Being employee-owned gives us the freedom to do fun things.
And then we share those things with you, the people we love.
See the crazy genius designer pendants at KesslersDiamonds.com.
You're listening to Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and sponsored by American Family Insurance.
So let's say the Packers start 0-3. What is my question going to be for Matt LaFleur? Matt, before the season you said you have to be focused on the process, not the results. But when you have results like these with this young team, at some point you have to reevaluate your process and figure out if there's something wrong with it. That's what I'm asking them, if they're 0-3.
It's a good question.
Yeah,
That's
and
a good question.
Tausch, to your point, and what we went back and forth on is, yeah, you're right. When you say I'm process-based, it means, yes, that you believe in the process you have. But that doesn't mean that you don't need to add or subtract from the process that you have to get better results.
And my point is, most successful people that say, I'm process-driven, their process has worked, right?
Right, and Matt LaFleur's has too, in fairness
to a certain extent. To a certain extent, yes. But this is...
But now there's no Hall of Fame quarterback running his process.
Exactly. So now we'll see,
so how
his process stacks up. Is it a better process? It could very well be a better process than what it was. But this idea that, I guess, and I don't think Matt... Let me make sure I'm being crystal clear. Matt LaFleur understands the NFL and understands winning that is what is required. All of the other stuff is great. Process, blah, blah, blah. But winning, and is that process leading you to victories? Mm-hmm. Is it leading you to play your best football? Sometimes you get beat. is it giving you a chance to be as consistent of a football team that you can win as many games as you can? That's it.
Right.
And if that's the case, great. But my point is, if I'm Jimmy Haslam and Hugh Jackson's coaching my football team, and he comes up and I'm 0-16, and he says, well, man, our process was really good. I'm thinking you're crazy.
Correct.
That's all. That is my only point that I was having a hard time. And by the way, you're still, I know you're going to disagree with me on this. I don't envision, if this team struggles and is 1-6, I don't feel like you're going to be don't worry about it, boys. You're not going to be telling your listeners and fans that it's no big deal. I just don't believe that.
If they are 1-6, then their process and their quarterback are not working. And then we have entirely different discussions that we're going to be having. Now, I would add this to this conversation that I want to keep going with. How will we know what exactly the issue is if somehow they are 1-6? And remember, what were the Lions last year? Were they like 1-7 or something like that? And then they won 8 of their last 9 or something ridiculous? I want to fact check that because this.
I wonder if Dan Campbell changed his process.
We'll talk about that next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Unfiltered, shameless, and analytical. ESPN Milwaukee's next afternoon show is Kyle, Brust, and Northman. Weekdays from 2 to 5. And it debuts on Monday, September 11th at 2 o'clock. Right here on 94.5 ESPN.
The wait is finally over.
Bucky by a billion. The Badgers are going to roll. The cheese is going to be flowing. Punching right in the chin, man.
Wisconsin football kicks off against Buffalo this Saturday at Camp Randall Stadium.
This is no walk through the park. This is a game. You have to bring your A game.
Get pumped with ESPN Wisconsin College Game Day beginning at 12:30 and right after the final whistle on 94.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
Stay up to date on the Green and Gold all off season. The Green and Gold Fix podcast is brought to you by Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Luxury stay, elite play, unwind in sophisticated comfort. Win big, dine, and experience the events in Milwaukee.
Blaine's Farm and Fleet's Labor Day sale is going on now, featuring unbeatable deals on fall essentials for your home, work, and vehicles. Like innovative, quality-driven Goodyear tires. Right now, buy 3 Goodyear tires, get 1 free, with up to $100 in consumer rebates when you buy 4. Plus, when your car's in the shop, get 10% off in-store purchases with $100 or more spent on tire and auto service. See store for details. All Blaine's Farm and Fleet stores are closed on Monday, September 4th for Labor Day.
Hi, it's John Reeds from Great Midwest Bank. An Alzheimer's diagnosis can be devastating and alienating. That's why we're teaming up with the Alzheimer's Association Wisconsin chapter to let you know about the important resources they offer the community. If you have questions about Alzheimer's or other dementia, call their helpline at 800-272-3900. Any day, anytime, free of charge. The Alzheimer's Association provides support groups to both patients and family members. They can also connect you with other people who know what you're going through. Education programs are available for caregivers both virtually and in person. You don't have to face this disease alone. You have the Alzheimer's Association by your side. The helpline phone number again, 800-272-3900. And visit greatmidwestbank.com to learn more about GMB's commitment to community and our Simply Giving mission.
Turn your love of sports into a fulfilling career. Carroll University offers master's degrees in athletic training, exercise physiology and sport physiology, and performance coaching. No matter which of the 3 disciplines you choose, Carroll features state-of-the-art technology, national recognized faculty, and experiential learning to prepare you for these high-demand careers. Visit carrollu.edu/sportscience to start your journey.
It takes a team to meet just about any goal, and that's as true on the football field as it is in the office. So it's good to know that you have the Gordon Flesch Company on your side. For more than 60 years, GFC has provided cutting-edge office technology for companies of all sizes, and as the nation's largest Canon dealer, GFC delivers the latest office technology, serviced, and is supported by the most experienced professionals in the industry. That's business technology managed. Visit gflesh.com to learn more.
Steinhaffel's Labor Day sale is bigger than ever with huge savings throughout the store and hundreds of incredible bonus buys. Start with $100 off your purchase of $19.99 or more. Plus, get a stainless steel 115-can beverage cooler free when you spend $39.99 or more. And take 15% off all clearance furniture and mattresses. Make it even easier when you use Steinhaffel's 72-month financing. It's Steinhaffel's Labor Day sale. Shop in store or online at steinhaffels.com.
I asked what kind of family she wanted. She said, a family like yours.
Learn more about adopting a teen at adoptuskids.org. You can't imagine the reward. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella at 855-PELLA-WI or visit online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Tausch, the Detroit Lions began last season 1-6. Literally with the record that we just used as an example for how we're going to look at the Packers if they're 1-6. And then they won 8 of their last 10 to finish 9-8. Now my question would
be,
I'm
sure Tommy from the Detroit Free Press was just sitting there saying, "You know what, guys? It's 1-6, but I bet just trust this process. They're going to be just fine."
It's Dave.
Tommy did that.
Dave Burkett. I don't.
Tommy.
It doesn't. Okay. It doesn't. Hey, doesn't matter what Tommy or Dave or Jason or Domofsky. Doesn't matter, because the real courage of conviction is being 1-6 and saying no. This sucks, but I still believe in this process. Now, I don't cover the Lions, so I don't know what Dan Campbell did at 1-6. Did he continue to trust the process, or did he make changes to the process so they could go 8-2 over their last 10 and finish 9-8? Now everybody and their brother thinks they're going to be a contender in the NFC, except us. So I don't know what happened. But my point is that if you are truly trusting the process, the challenge arrives when you suck. And you're continually saying to yourself, no, I believe in this process. Guess what? You can believe in your process all the way to a 2-15 record and getting fired. So you're right. It's not that I don't agree with what you're saying. I just, look, if we're being honest, this is what teams that don't think they're going to win a lot of games are going to say. You don't hear teams that are going to go 13-4 saying, I trust our process and the outcome will follow. Yeah, maybe occasionally you hear that, but that ain't what you're hearing from a team with Aaron Rodgers as the quarterback.
You hear Andy Reid and you hear these coaches say, I trust my process that will get us to where we want to go. Huh? That's what you hear.
Eric called in, then texted in, because he had bad reception, so thank you for your lack of service, Eric, from your cell phone carrier. Thanks.
Pretty good.
And he was thinking along the same lines I was. I lived out in Michigan for the past 3 years, and I can tell you that Lions fans have been happy with the process that Dan Campbell has started with the Lions. They went 3-13-1 in year one, but they were losing differently. 9-8 last year included delivering a knockout punch at Lambeau, even when their season was already over. That's 1,000% true. The team is getting better, and they started to develop a core nucleus to build around. That's Eric in Green Bay. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, Eric, here's the difference. Detroit Lions fans have how many wins since JFK was blown away?
I believe we established that was...
you went back to it.
1 or 2, maybe.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, playoff
so
wins.
Is it
they
possible,
won more regular season games than that.
Yeah. Is it possible
They're
that...
not old for the post-JFK blown-away era. Yes, that's true.
What I'm intrigued by is, Eric brings up a good point, and Detroit stunk for a long time.
Indeed they did.
They had become calloused to losing. Green Bay Packer fans don't have that.
No, they do not.
How accepting of a slow start, if that happens, will Packer fans be? I don't think they're going to be as patient as maybe Jason thinks. That's all. That's my point on this whole, put a bow on it and get to the 11 o'clock hour. That's what I think.
Big bow guy.
And whether or not we'll see if that happens, the odds are it's going to be there's going to be ups and downs, and this team will win some games, they'll lose some games.
Sure.
I don't see them getting off to that slow of a start, especially with the schedule that they have. But if they do, are there going to be people like Eric that just said, well, Detroit, we felt this way? Green Bay's had a heck of a lot more than one playoff win since JFK. Detroit hasn't. So Detroit's fans are really happy when you go 9-8, and there's belief.
Mm-hmm.
How'd Green Bay Packer fans feel with 8-9 last year?
Not great.
Get out of here, QB. We're going as young as we possibly can. To hell with Rodgers. Get him out of here.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened. So maybe you're correct. Maybe I'm misreading and saying, you know what? People are going to be just fine with a team that really struggles and doesn't score a ton of points and loses a lot of games. But our Packer fans are going to say, yeah, but I really, you know what? We can't win a game, but boy, I love this process. Maybe you'll be right on that.
All right, I want to start the 11 o'clock hour with one last question on this. I know your process of putting a bow on it.
I bowed up. Yeah, I thought I bowed it, but
I'm not going to allow it. I want to start the 11 o'clock hour with one last question about this, because I love that you drew that comparison between the feeling of Lions fans, JFK, blown away, what else do you have to say, and Packers fans. But I want to ask something about what happened last season and apply it to the 2023 Green Bay Packers. Speaking of the 2023 Green Bay Packers, every time I walk by the Tundra Trio, I see the Tito's sign. And I know that they've got a great giveaway going on. They've got all kinds of stuff up their alley for a season where they trust their muddling process, their infusion process, whatever process it is, just make sure it includes Tito's.
Oh, and we had the transfusions out at Nakoma on Monday. It's always Tito's. Take it to the house this season and enjoy tailgating from your own backyard. Tito's wants to make sure you have the best tailgate on the block. You can win game day gear for your next gathering by entering to win at titostailgate.com. Be sure to enter by November 15th for your chance to win a Solo Stove Grill, a Brewmate back tap for those batched cocktails, or a Tito's football jersey. For official rules, visit titostailgate.com. That's titostailgate.com. Must be 21 to enter. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
The 11 o'clock hour kicks off with me untying Tausch's bow briefly to finish our conversation. Next, it's Wilde and Tausch.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin, the ESPN app, and Wisconsin On Demand.
Mark Tauscher here to tell you
I'm coming.
Hi, Mark Tauscher. Tausch, you have mosquitoes in here.
It's like an insect zoo right now at my house. Here comes that wasp again. Incoming.
Shoo, you need Pella's 250 series of windows with exclusive hidden screens, protecting you from nature.
Yes, please. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin to the rescue.
Get a 250 series patio door and 8 double-hung windows with hidden screens as low as $188 per month. PellaWI.com. Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details. Offer ends 8/31/23.
Heading up north this summer for some golf? Be sure to book a tee time at the Ball Golf Course, an Arnold Palmer masterpiece just north of Milwaukee on the way to Kohler. It's the best destination for your next Wisconsin round of golf. Enjoy golf. Enjoy the bog.
What can you do in about an hour? You could take a nap, do some cleaning, have lunch with a friend, watch your favorite show, take a yoga class, go to the gym, or buy a car. At Ewald Automotive, you'll be in and out in about an hour. Go to ewaldauto.com, select the vehicle you're interested in, and get your instant price. Get a firm trade-in offer, customize your payment option, and even add your own protection plans. Then head to the dealership, and you'll be in and out in about an hour.
Go to ewaldauto.com.
Hey, it's ESPN Milwaukee's Gabe Neitzel, ready to celebrate Labor Day week on 94.5 ESPN. Sponsored by Perky's Old Fashioned, a ready-to-pour bourbon or brandy mix with the alcohol already in it. Get perked up this Labor Day with an easier-than-ever Wisconsin Old Fashioned. Just add the soda of your choosing to Perky's brandy or bourbon mix and enjoy. Find your nearest Perky's location at perkyspirits.com and get 15% off Perky's merch using the code PERKY15. Happy Labor Day from 94.5 ESPN and Perky's Old Fashioned, your bartender in a bottle.
What is dedication?
People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike and you didn't? I just created an environment where they taught themselves and all I had to do was be there.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hey, this is Jen Latta. You're listening to 94.5 ESPN, WKTI, and WKTI HD Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
Get into a discussion of the Packers tight end situation as they have given away number 89 to Ben Sims, their new tight end that they've added.
They didn't even give it a year to let Mercedes Lewis's number go?
No. Don't need him. We got Ben Sims now, who, oh, by the way, is also an undrafted free agent who was cut by the Minnesota Vikings, played at Baylor. So not adding veteran talent to that group. Now, Tausch is 1,000,000% right. Packers fans are nothing like Lions fans. You think it's been a long time since the Packers won the Super Bowl in 2010. The Lions have not won a title in the Super Bowl era. JFK blown away. That's all I have to say. Their title was in 1957. We didn't have a Super Bowl then. Talk about Old Testament. So you're right, 1,000%. Now, here's what I want to ask you, though. If the Green Bay Packers season unfolds in precisely the same way as the Lions season did in 2022, will we be criticizing and questioning and ripping the fact that, hey, we understand you're young, but 1-6 to start the season, that's not good enough. And is Matt LaFleur's going to get himself fired? And Jordan Love is not the guy, it would appear. And Joe Barry should be fired at the bye because their defense is not keeping them in games. And then they win 8 of their last 10, and they finished 9-8 and missed the playoffs, the same way the Lions did. In that narrow instance, I would argue that Packers fans are going to act the same way as Lions fans are after the way last season went for them. They're super excited. They think they've got a contender. They believe in their coach and his process. Jared Goff is born again. So if you can face that level of adversity and start your first 7 games 1-6, and if you can go 8-2 over the last 10, Packers fans are going to behave the exact same way as Lions fans. Wouldn't you agree?
No, because I think and again, I wasn't in Detroit for the 1-6 part. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people calling for Dan Campbell's head and saying when they're 1-6 that this experiment hadn't worked. This process sucked. I'm guessing after 7 weeks that would happen. I just, here's what would happen here in Green Bay. You would have some, slow start, You get to 1-6, Packer fans would be livid. They'd be calling for Matt LaFleur's job. They would be saying, what the hell are we doing? And then you would start seeing the build. Did you not live through last season?
I most certainly did. Yeah, and all the vitriol was directed at the quarterback more than anybody else.
For sure. Well, what's going to happen here? The vitriol will go to Matt LaFleur. If you see a 1-6 start, Well, Matt LaFleur is supposed to get easy throws for Jordan Love, all this other stuff. So to act as if people would be happy, if you end up 9-8, you just barely miss the playoffs, and you start playing your best ball at the end of the year, 100% right. Packer fans would be happy with that, and you'll say it's a really good season. Mm-hmm. But the process of getting there, Packer fans and NFL fans in general are not just going to say, yep, 1-6, that's just all part of the process. They're not. And that's why hopefully we can put a bow on this. I don't know. You're the bow master. That's what I was trying to tell you.
I understand.
I don't think Packer fans will look at this the same way Lions fans do and just be accepting, because, Jason, we've pulled things now about playoffs and about being better than last year and the roster, and it's coming back pretty heavily, predominantly, that you're expecting to be a lot better than I think Jason J. Wilde thinks. I think fans have higher expectations than you do.
I'm curious to see how, if they don't meet those expectations, how people are going to handle that then. Because that is a distinct possibility. Is it not?
Yeah. There's a good possibility that you're going to get off to a slower start. You're going to lose some games that you think you'd win. And how fans react to that is there's so much uncertainty. I do think there'll be some grace early, but this isn't going to be you think we want to get to a point where we're Cleveland Browns fans and we're okay with 0-16? We don't even fire a coach? 1-31?
I didn't say, come on, that's not what I'm saying at all, though. But you're if they do what the Lions did last year, and I'm guessing, again, I'm not Dave Burkett, I don't work in Detroit, but yeah, you're right. I'm sure that there were plenty of fans that are like, this guy was great on Hard Knocks, but he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. They need to try a different coach. They need to fire him and make the offensive coordinator Ben Johnson the new head coach, whatever. I'm sure there were people that are saying that. But again, if the Packers do what the Lions did a year ago, that's the push toward 2024 that we all want to see, including me. Hey, they didn't make the playoffs, but they made a push late in the year, and they got better, and Jordan Love looked really good. Like Jared Goff looked really good. Jared Goff didn't look so hot when they were 1-6 either, by the way. So if that's what it ends up being, it's going to suck for the first 7 weeks if you're a Packers fan. But if it does end up the way it ended up for the Lions, doesn't have to be exact. It could be 1-4. They can, after 7 games, they can be 2-5 or whatever. But if they end the season that way, and you thought they were going to make the playoffs and they don't, I just don't get how that's... I get it. The voting is, at this point, on the Wilde and Tausch Twitter feed, the voting stands at over 300 votes. Do you believe the Packers will make the playoffs this season? 57.1% say yes, 42.9% say no.
Okay. Yeah.
57%'s a lot.
So while you can tamp down expectations and everything else, all I'm saying is I think everybody understands, and while your question about would Packer fans be fine with the season that the Detroit Lions had, and I would say if it's 9-8 and the way they finished, Packer fans would go into 2024 offseason feeling really good about this team. They would not feel really good week 7 when they're 1-6. They would be calling for heads. And now this is
blank.
No, that's not what. But that's my point. You're saying that was what bothered me about your process and Matt LaFleur's process quote, because people would be saying your process sucks.
I feel like you're not listening.
And that's where you need to have a Matt LaFleur and a Brian Gutekunst trust in what they're doing. But if you don't think that there's tweaking going on, I started off 1-4 a few times in my career, and we made playoffs at least 2 of those seasons that we started off 1-4.
Not in 2005 when you started 1-7, however.
That was not good. When you look at it, you don't just sit back and say that we're just going to continue to do what we're doing. What we did, and almost every time this happened, we would just say we're simplifying things and we're going to let you guys go out and play, and we're putting it back. It's almost as if the coaches are saying, this is what we've done. We need you guys to take ownership of this and roll with it. So things change. You don't just keep doing the same thing and expect. It's like when our Rose Bowl season my last year. We could have easily said, well, Kavanaugh's playing okay. We just lost to Cincinnati, Michigan. We scored 13 points. Barry Alvarez could have said, my process is we're going to run the football, we're going to play defense. It doesn't matter what the quarterback does. You know what he did? He said, no, we're going to give this young whippersnapper a chance, and we're going to change some of our process. We're going to run more bootlegs so it frees things up for Ron a little bit more. Because Brooks Bollinger could do it. You know what? That change of process worked. So that's my point back to you as we finally, I believe, put a bow on the process conversation.
Yeah, I definitely want to put a bow on the process conversation. In part because I don't feel like you listen to me at all.
You got a bow laying around there somewhere, Tausch? You could actually pull it up, put a bow on it.
I listened to you. First off, Jason, Jesse, I completely listened to you. You weren't listening to me.
No, I told you that if you're 1-6, you have to question whether the process is working or not. I literally said that. And I said that Dan Campbell probably was thinking the same thing, but he stuck with it. Or maybe he didn't. I don't know. I don't cover the Lions. All right.
Fair enough.
Moving on. Jesse, I wanted to talk about tight ends. Jesse wants to save it for tomorrow when he's not even on the show, because he's got something in his little Facebook fiefdom that he wants to talk about. So guess what? Because
Minnesota Vikings, hey, I know we're not talking about Packers tight ends, Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. He's a tight end. T.J. Hawkinson. We're not talking about tight ends.
Oh,
Jesse
we can't talk tight ends.
Decreed,
I didn't know there was a complete tight end embargo.
We're not talking about the tight ends.
Tausch says, put this ball on the field. Put this up on Facebook to get. So I did
that
it.
What I sound like?
Yes, and I did it for once, and now I want to go through some of the responses. I tell the people all the time, we'll review your responses, and half the time we never do it. I want to do it.
In fairness, you never post anything I ask you to post. So I don't know why I would think that you would post it. Okay?
Fair.
And by the way, the T.J. Hawkinson news just broke. It's a big deal that a tight end in a division that people think the Vikings are going to beat the Packers in, he's there. Just signed the fattest new contract extension in the history of tight ends, is what I think Adam Schefter just
but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Jesse's Facebook page.
It's no good.
So that's what we're going to do. And look,
if it was your LinkedIn, maybe I could get on board.
In fairness to Jesse, I was a skeptic of the Aunt Betty fantasy football draft conundrum, and it turned out to be, I would argue, aside from which bugs are attractive, one of the best things we did today. So I'm going to give him the chance to succeed or fail on his own merits with his Facebook responses. I do want some of the Betty-related fantasy football teams, though. Can you fit that in, too, Jesse?
We'll figure it out somewhere. Yeah.
All right, we'll do that next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
The end of one era on ESPN Milwaukee means the start of a new one. It's Kyle, Brust, and Nordman every weekday from 2 to 5, followed by the Homer Hour from 5 to 6. The debuts happen September 11th right here on 94.5 ESPN. It's Labor Day week here on 94.5 ESPN, sponsored by Perky's Old Fashioned, a ready-to-pour bourbon or brandy mix with the alcohol already in it. Just add the soda of your choosing to their Perky's brandy or bourbon mix and enjoy. Find your nearest Perky's location at PerkySpirits.com and get 15% off Perky's merch using the code PERKY15. Happy Labor Day from 94.5 ESPN and Perky's Old Fashioned. Get perked up. Perky's is your local bartender in a bottle.
Juniper Pools is kicking off football season in a big way this year. Purchase a spa between July 29th and August 31st, and you win when our team wins. If the green and gold win the big game, you'll receive your hot tub purchase for free. If they win the division, you get $1,000 back, and if they make the wild card playoff game, you score a $250 in-store gift card. For complete promotional terms and conditions, visit poolpeople.com. Get ready to relax and back the green and gold this season with Juniper Pools on West Wisconsin Avenue by Costco in Appleton.
The Brewers pennant race is heating up. Make sure you have a spot when October comes around. Get first dibs at postseason tickets with your 2024 season ticket plan. Not only will you get first access to Brewers postseason tickets, but season seat holders only enjoy exclusive benefits, the best seats, big savings on tickets, exclusive rewards, and more. Place a deposit now to be a part of the postseason and beyond at brewers.com/season tickets.
A cat store!
Want to go see it?
Yeah! Let's finally bring your mom's Illinois family a true taste of Wisconsin.
Right off I-94 in Kenosha, Mars Cheese Castle is a Wisconsin landmark. Along with over 1,000 cheeses, Mars has a meat market, bakery, bar, and restaurant. Spreads, curds, sausages, Kringles. Make Mars Cheese Castle a lunch stop and enjoy the best grilled cheese or Reuben on the planet. Make today your day to go to Mars.
Yeah! Exit 340 in Kenosha.
Cousin Subs just got better. With our newest mobile app update, we've made it easier to purchase your favorite subs and sides with Apple or Google Pay and the ability to make split payments. And that's not all. Could we get your digits? Sign up today for our new text messaging program to unlock exclusive coupons and offers at cousinsubs.com or via our app. Cousin Subs. We believe in better.
The Saganiac Planning Marquette Championship moment. Last season expected to do nothing and did everything. Preseason Marquette picked 9th of 11 teams. At the end, 17-3 and won the Big East regular season title by 2 games. Won the last 6 in a row, including over 2 nationally ranked teams. First Marquette team ever outright Big East regular season conference champs. And it wasn't close, and it wasn't 9th. 2023 champion. If you're a company owner offering medical insurance for your employees, you may be sick and tired of the constant increase in rates or change in benefits. Now's the time to take a look at a different type of plan. At Saganiac Planning, we call it level funding. It's an opportunity to keep premiums low and possibly receive a return of your premiums. For more information regarding level funding, please call John Saganiac Jr., 262-783-6161. That's 262-783-6161. Saganiac Planning, a name synonymous with employee benefits and top-notch service.
Pick up everything you need to wrap up summer and head into Labor Day at Fleet Farm. Get deals on cookout favorites and snacks like an American Gourmet 3-burner gas grill by Charbroil, on sale $149.99. A 16-pound bag of Kingsford charcoal briquettes, $9.99. 24-pack of Fleet Farm bottled water, just $3. And 1-pound bags of pistachios are just $6.49. We have what you need for your everyday life. Fleet Farm.
This is Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN, sponsored by American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Jesse Nelson takes over the show for 2 consecutive segments. So please keep watching anyway, or listening, or streaming, or whatever it may be. Before Jesse does that, I want to take this opportunity to remind you that Labor Day is right around the corner. In fact, it's on Monday. And Steinhaffel's Labor Day sale is bigger and better than ever, with huge savings throughout the store and hundreds of incredible deals. So start off with $100 off your purchase of $1,999 or more, plus get a free beverage cooler when you spend over $3,999, and take an extra 15% off their already low-priced clearance furniture and mattresses. Plus, you can buy now and pay over 6 years when you use Steinhaffel's 72-month financing. It is Steinhaffel's Labor Day sale going on now at Steinhaffel's and steinhaffels.com. All right, Jesse, what's going on Facebook?
So Tausch asked earlier in the show for me to ask, and I think this was inspired by the Jonathan Taylor trade conversation yesterday. Who are the untouchables if you're Brian Gutekunst, or
great movie,
the way I put it on Facebook, if you are the Packers GM right now, who are the
Did you capitalize
untouchables?
you?
I did not. Oh, wait, maybe I did.
Okay.
It's a little disappointing if you didn't. That's kind of our brand.
Did you?
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
I
thought I did.
Yeah,
That's a good job.
Good.
All
Nice
right.
work.
So Sharon says on Facebook, the untouchables are Aaron Jones, Jordan Love, and David Bakhtiari. Everyone else is fair game. Would you say those 3 players are untouchable right now?
No. I would say Jordan Love is the only one untouchable out of that group.
You think they would trade the heart and soul of their team, as Goody called him yesterday?
I don't think they'd
for
want
the right
to,
offer.
but I think I think they would. I think they'd trade. Would they trade Aaron Jones for JT 23 right now if they got signed JT to a new deal?
Yeah.
So he's not untouchable. That's my point. Okay. What else you got, Jesse?
John adds 2 defensive players. He says Jair Alexander and Rashawn Gary in addition to Jordan
I would agree
Love.
with both.
Those are the 3 for
I would
John.
agree with both. John nailed it. I think John's got that. Yep.
Jason?
Agreed.
Okay. JJ then says he has Rashawn Gary, Jordan Love, then adds Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Kenny Clark.
Nope. Romeo Doubs, I'd trade. I think Romeo Doubs, if you could get what you really wanted, it would have to be very, very, very good. Kenny Clark would be the interesting one to me. I don't think I would trade him. I think I would keep him too. But his cap number, more than likely is going to start getting bigger. And if you think my guy Wyatt is going to be popping and you're going to have to pay him, Kenny Clark's going to get to that point where his cap number is going to accelerate. And his play, he is a really good football player. I would say he's untradeable for this year. I would agree with that, but I have to at least think about that one. I can't just give it a rubber stamp.
We really like Kenny Clark here. Really, really like him as a dude, as a player. He's one of our guys. The cap number is significant moving forward. They gave him a big contract a couple years ago. He's 27 years old still, so he's still a young player, even though he's in like year 8 in the NFL. I want Kenny Clark on this team, but I don't think he would be untouchable. If there was a contender that needed a run stuffer, and you're going to give me a second-round pick for him and a player maybe, I'm probably trading Kenny Clark, especially if I'm 1-6 and wondering if my process is working.
Nice. When this topic came up in the 9 o'clock hour...
So is the bow tied, or did you just untie the bow again?
No, it's tied.
Rearranged it a little bit.
Tied. I double knotted it.
When this came up in the 9 o'clock hour, you said Elton Jenkins, like, out of the gates, was your first untouchable. Only one response of the, 20 that we've gotten on Facebook mentions Elton Jenkins. That's from Keith. He says Jair Alexander, Rashawn Gary, Watson, and Jenkins. So why is he getting overlooked?
So here's why Elton Jenkins is untouchable to me. He's obviously a all-pro player, Pro Bowl type player, versatile, and he's on a really nice contract for the Green Bay Packers. So you solidify that. I think the way you look at it when you're trading players and whether or not they are available or not is what value are they bringing in, what are you paying them? I would say Zach Tom is untouchable right now. I would trade Zach Tom for anything because he's on a rookie deal and he's playing tackle. And he's really good and he's going to be one of your core players moving forward. I would trade Kenny Clark before I would trade Zach Tom. That's how I would look at it. I think that's when you start looking at the untradables, those would be Christian Watson because he's on a rookie deal and because I think he's a stud. Would never trade him. Outside of that, Preston Smith, yep, I would trade him. Don't have a problem. Devontae Campbell, yep.
David Bakhtiari still, we were told very specifically they are not trading him. Do you believe that Goody could change his mind on that?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Under what circumstances could Goody trade his mind on that? Change his mind.
I think the season's unwinding a little bit. David said, you know what, man, I really want to go to a contender. I know you're going to release me after the season. What do you think? Can you want to trade me to the Jets for a 4th or a 5th? And if the Jets are willing to do it? Not right now. Let the season play. And, again, I think that stems from they're keeping him to play in games. He's not practicing. I don't think he practiced yesterday. Right. He's not practicing today. Mm-hmm. You understand where he's at. I think it would be a case of Goody could say, well, you know what? David came to me and said, my career's winding down. I want to play for a contender. My team is not. Would you do me a solid? And you can get rid of a lot of money off the books. You're going to be eating a big number, though.
You are, but you're eating it this year, or you're eating it next year, or you're eating it next year and the year after.
They also said, well, it's a good day that you're eating $40-some-odd million on Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Patrick. So you have to keep that in mind, too, when you're dealing with D-Bach.
All right, Jesse, what else you got on the old Facebook page before we move to Wonelli?
The last ones I wanted to get to here. Al, Matthew, Peter, everyone saying along the lines of this, if the pot is sweet enough, everyone is available, nobody is untouchable on the current roster. What do you say to the people responding that way?
Well, I mean, listen, there's always outrageous stuff that can happen. The Chiefs could call and say, hey, we're going to give you Kelsey and Mahomes, and all we want is Christian Watson. Okay. Or Jordan. So, yeah, there's always those things that
but if you get Mahomes, then can you really afford to put together the offensive line to protect?
It would stunt Musgrave's growth to get Kelsey in here. Yeah. Not be good for the long term.
You can't play Travis Kelsey because then Luke Musgrave's not going to get enough reps.
Oh, God. Well, that's the process. Just trust it.
Jesse, do you have any team names that honor the late, great Aunt Betty for your fantasy football team after you worked on your draft instead of on her hymn?
Betty and the Jets were definitely the best ones. Betty's Brawlers from Jeff and a Beer Truck. Kind of the gritty spirit of great Aunt Betty. Betty's Ballers from Will and Colgate. I don't know about that one. There were a few others that rolled through, but those were the good ones. Betty and the Jets seems like a good winner. Whoa, Betty.
Whoa, Betty!
Yeah, that was one that was nominated at some point.
Kind of like that one.
So there's some options to choose from. I don't know. I'm still on the fence on some of that, and I just feel bad. Like I feel worse affiliating great Aunt Betty with the fantasy team, knowing how I felt trying to balance a fantasy football draft and practicing the hymn last night at home. It just felt like
yeah, but you didn't feel bad enough to actually not look at your phone and go through a draft.
Correct.
So you couldn't have felt that bad.
I mean, I really there were some flaws in the roster from the get-go in the auto draft that I had to make sure I corrected later on. I didn't want to get loaded. Yeah, like we've all been in a situation. I think we've all been in a situation where auto draft kind of messes with you.
Yeah, I always look at it. The draft is the best night of your fantasy league.
Of course.
It goes all downhill from
there.
there.
You're right.
You get injuries. You got to dig into the waiver wire, blah, 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 blah. So if you're not going to actually participate in the draft, I don't think you should even be in the league. You auto-draft. You can't take credit for anything. The whole point of this is you want to take credit for being a genius about knowing NFL personnel. And when you auto-draft, you might as well is that even fun?
It's definitely it's like you're dealt cards and you're like, okay, here's the hand I've been dealt. Let's see what I can make out of it. But you can't fold. Like you just have to play it out. Like it stinks. Like you're right. The draft is the best part. I know a lot of people who just do fantasy football drafts, and they're like, that's the fun part. Like, I don't even care how the team does. It's just really fun to do if you get in like a free league and you're like,
Did you ever think? I've seen this before with people. Did you ever think about hiring a fantasy draft consultant that handles your draft? You tell them you tell this person the ideas of what you're thinking. Oh, there's plenty of folks that if they're real busy people, they can't make the draft. Well, you do it. I will send my proxy.
If you're too busy to draft your own players for your fantasy football draft, here's an idea. Don't play fantasy football then.
Well, now it's not that you're too busy. Like
but
you
want the camaraderie. And you want to keep it. I understand why people do it.
If bless her heart, if great Aunt Betty hadn't passed earlier this week, I would have been sitting at the kitchen table.
You would have consulted her.
I would have been sitting at the kitchen table last night, dialed into this ESPN Madison fantasy draft. Coincidentally, time worked out the way it did. Where it's not that I was too busy. It's not that I was too busy or that I don't want to be part of the league. It's just it didn't work out last night because my mom needed to practice the hymn. Betty Rubbles from Joe and Manitowoc. That's okay.
That's it for Facebook time with Jesse and Aunt Betty. Wonelli is next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Wilde and Tausch continues next on 94.5 ESPN, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, and sponsored by American Family Insurance.
Take it to the house this season and enjoy tailgating from your own backyard. Tito's wants to make sure you have the best tailgate on the block. You can win game day gear for your next gathering by entering to win at Tito'sTailgate.com. Be sure to enter by November 15th for your chance to win a Solo Stove Grill, a Brewmate Back Tap for batch cocktails, or a Tito's football jersey. For official rules, visit Tito'sTailgate.com. Must be 21 years old to enter. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
Look at all this space I have on my desk. Finally, no more clutter.
I know, right? Plus, now I can actually see everyone and talk to them whenever I want.
Would you stop trying to ask people if there are more doors or wheels in the world?
Speaking of wheels, these chairs, woo!
I've never been more comfortable at work.
Coakley Brothers and Brothers Interiors, the official moving and furniture provider of GKB Milwaukee.
Hi, it's John Reitz from Great Midwest Bank. At GMB, we give back by supporting local nonprofits, such as the Alzheimer's Association Wisconsin chapter. Did you know that the local professionals who work at banks are often some of the first people to recognize early signs of Alzheimer's and other dementia in their customers? This can include a customer appearing lost or confused, or showing unusual behaviors with their accounts. At Great Midwest Bank, we take our community responsibilities seriously. We're proud to be a dementia-friendly bank with training from the Waukesha Aging and Disability Resource Center. If we notice potential signs of dementia during a customer visit, we connect with customers and their loved ones. This fall, you can make a difference too. Sign up for the Walk to End Alzheimer's at alz.org/walk. Visit GreatMidwestBank.com to learn more about GMB's commitment to community and our Simply Giving mission.
Steinhaffel's Labor Day sale is bigger than ever with huge savings throughout the store and hundreds of incredible bonus buys. Start with $100 off your purchase of $19.99 or more. Plus, get a stainless steel 115-can beverage cooler free when you spend $39.99 or more. And take 15% off all clearance furniture and mattresses. Make it even easier when you use Steinhaffel's 72-month financing. It's Steinhaffel's Labor Day sale. Shop in store or online at steinhaffels.com.
Oh, how great it would feel to have your 20-year-old knees, shoulders, hips, and back.
You know, you don't think about your pains when you're in your 20s or 30s, but you wish you could get that body back when you're in your 60s. I think QC did that for me.
For Patrick, here in Milwaukee, it started with a simple phone call to QC Kinetics.
One day I was driving and I just heard the radio and I pulled over and took the number and I called them when I got home.
Maybe that's you, and you're listening right now. Why wait? QC Kinetics Regenerative Treatments uses your body's own natural biologics to heal and restore damaged tissue without invasive surgery or harmful drugs. And as for the results,
my knees are as good as they were when I was in my 20s. I'm really happy with what happened.
For Patrick, it's like QC Kinetics turned back the clock. Now it's your turn. Call QC Kinetics today for your complimentary consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Sunday. That's right, folks. Great Lakes Dragway's 2023 race season is in full swing. Come out to see our annual events like Memorial Day Weekend, Labor Day Weekend, Nitro Streetcar Brawl, Import Wars, Larry's Fun Fest, and Bug Fest. Looking for something new and exciting? Come see the Night of Fire Jet Show. Want the track all to yourself? Email or call about a private track rental. Go to GreatLakesDragaway.com for contact information and our full season schedule. Great Lakes Dragaway, just a burnout west of I-94 on County KR. Be there.
Wilde and Tausch is presented by Tito's Handmade Vodka, America's original craft vodka produced in Austin, Texas, and naturally gluten-free. Tito's Handmade Vodka.
lamb, whoa, Black Betty, family lamb, Black Betty had a child, family lamb, the damn thing gone wrong.
This is a great song for Aunt Betty, but we want to make sure that we don't lose our YouTube stream, so let's play Whoa Nelly.
If the topic is good, the guys discuss.
Just the other morning I had breakfast at Tracy Rocker's house. His mama brought out 15 flapjacks. He said, Mama, take back 5 of them flapjacks. I gotta stay hungry for the Crimson Tide.
But if it's not, the show must go on. It's time for
Whoa Nelly
on Wilde and Tausch.
College football is really, really back tonight, guys. First of 5 days of college football, one of my favorite weekends of the year. Week 0 doesn't really count. Florida, Utah, and Nebraska, Minnesota, highlighting the college football schedule tonight. Big Ten West matchup with Nebraska and Minnesota, and also Graham Mertz, starting quarterback of the Florida Gators, going to Utah for a tough early season battle. How excited are you for the college football season, and how much college football will you watch on the docket tonight, starting at like 6 o'clock and going into the late evening, Tausch?
I won't watch any tonight. I am intrigued by the Minnesota-Nebraska game. I think that will be very telling as far as what we're seeing and what we're expecting. Nebraska, obviously, with a new coach, and where Minnesota's at as far as Wisconsin's concerned with the Big Ten West. So I'm definitely excited for the football season, college football season. I think while there's going to be your stalwarts, there's a lot of movement, a lot of new things, and especially when it comes to our Wisconsin Badgers. I don't think – I know some folks came out for the launch. It was a tough day. It was pretty snowy and miserable. Going to be close to a full house, going to be hot, and it's going to be a whole new era. I can't tell you how much different it's going to look. It's going to look a lot. I mean, it's a monstrous difference what we're going to see Saturday afternoon when you're talking about offensively, and we'll excited to kind of get this new era started and see how this process is going to look.
All right, so Jesse, what is the entirety of the schedule for today and tomorrow leading into the Badgers on Saturday? We've got Florida and Graham Mertz.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Michigan State, I think, plays tomorrow because I wanted to reach out to Mel Tucker to talk about Jaden Reed, and I figure I'd let him coach the first game of the season before I ask him for an interview.
Yeah, I mean, you've got some lame games like Kent State, UCF is tonight, South Dakota, Missouri.
Ooh.
Those are the big...
Indiana State, Eastern Illinois, that's going to be a barn burner.
Two teams that don't get along. Tomorrow is also a little bit... great game tomorrow, Miami versus Miami. That's fun. Miami, Ohio, Miami, Florida. Can't wait. Central Michigan, Michigan State tomorrow. Lance Leipold, Kansas Jayhawks at home tomorrow night against Missouri State. The late one tomorrow, I'll be at a bachelor party. We'll have Stanford at Hawaii on a 10 p.m. Friday night kickoff, leading into the college football weekend. And then, of course, all the big games on Saturday. There's a couple on Sunday. Northwestern Rutgers, 11 a.m. Sunday on CBS. Still trying to get used to that. That'll be fun to watch. Big weekend of college football. I love Labor Day weekend. I love how it's become
turnover chain my blank.
My man.
Well, who's the Monday night game?
That one's lame. It's Clemson and Duke.
Oh, I thought Florida State was playing.
No. Florida State LSU is Sunday night. That's like the creme de la creme of the weekend.
That'll be a fun one.
Yeah.
By the way, if you're looking for another game tonight on ESPN Plus, Samford versus Shorter. Have you ever heard of Shorter?
That's a new one to me.
I wish my questions were shorter. Am I right? Whoa, Nelly.
Nice.
Whoa Nelly.
Speaking of Nebraska, the Cornhuskers set an NCAA record last night. 90,000 plus in attendance at Memorial Stadium to watch Nebraska women's volleyball, an NCAA volleyball attendance record. When teams set attendance records by selling out big football stadiums for different events like this, volleyball, hockey, basketball, Do you think it's cool or do you think it's kind of like hokey? Because I saw this last time, like, well, they kind of cheated by doing it in a football stadium.
What the hell are you talking about? Like, how does anybody think that's hokey?
Because all these fans are like, we're going to set an NCAA attendance record. But it's like, all it is a gimmick. Like, we're one time going to play in this massive stadium.
Whoa. You were raving about this when Wisconsin set the record at the Kohl Center, saying how awesome it was. It's great for women's sports.
That's an actual arena.
No. Oh, so anytime there's a hockey game played out on outside, it's lame? Or it's hokey?
No, the experience is cool, but it shouldn't count for
Or when they play in a cornfield? That was hokey?
No, again, I like the spectacle of Nebraska women's volleyball playing at the football stadium last night was awesome. Nice. Playing at the football stadium, having 90,000 is cool. It shouldn't count as an NCAA attendance record because it's not their normal venue. They played it at a football stadium. What? It's cheating. It's cheating. They're like, one time we're going to play. If they played 5 games a year at the football stadium, then I'd consider it more.
Oh, my God.
One time.
For those of you not watching on video, Tausch is rubbing his face and dropping his head in disgust.
It's cheating to set a record. And they're like, wow, look at all these great Nebraska fans. They came out one time, and they're like, hey, one time we're going to have the volleyball game at the football stadium. It'll be really cool. Let's go set a record. Like, they're just doing it to set the record.
Oh, you know what's really dumb, Jesse, is when a team goes and plays and wins it. They play in all these stadiums, and then they don't even play in their own stadium or the other team's stadium at a Super Bowl. That's really corny and dumb because they go to a different place. They play at a different venue than what they're accustomed to. You're trying to do something big and bold, and I think for volleyball has continued to grow. We are way ahead of the curve. We loved volleyball before volleyball was cool. 7-8 years ago.
We were ahead of the curve, yeah. It's true.
And the fact that Wisconsin's women volleyball team is awesome, that obviously makes it easier to love. But this whole concept, and the coach that used to be at Wisconsin, what's his name? He's out at Nebraska now. What's the dude's name? He's the volleyball coach.
Yeah, I forgot his
name.
name.
Cook.
Jason, you
Oh, yeah,
John
yeah.
Cook. Jesse, you had no idea.
No, I did. I read the story earlier today.
So he wins I think he's won 3 or 4 national championships at Nebraska. And for him to have his team walk out of the Huskers tunnel to go down on the court with 90,000 people, he said it was the greatest moment of his coaching life. He was moved to tears. But Jesse
really
thinks it's corny and hokey.
No, it was really cool. It shouldn't count as a record.
Take your corn and your hoke and shove it up where the rutabagas don't grow.
Wow, didn't see that coming.
Rutabagas.
The rutabaga is one of the most beautiful vegetables. I'm curious if you're... they all paid for their tickets, right? Like, even if it was like $5 to sit in the nosebleed seats, they didn't just give them all away?
Yeah, the proceeds went to charity. It was a
great
hospital.
So they paid for the attendance. Also, as Tom Oates points out on the private talk and text line, always good to know that Oates's listening. He and I are both John Cook, friends of John Cook. Nebraska has led the country in volleyball attendance for about 30 years now. So the fact that they chose to do something at the football stadium is not hokey. It's not like they were not drawing flies at their games previously, and then they did something in the stadium to get people to come.
But then just...
the only negative last night, Jesse, was there were some dragonflies that came in and affected some of the sets. Down on the,
did you see that scorpion fly in and sting the ball right in the middle of the play?
Goose took
incredible.
Goose took a dumper right by where the line was.
That would be.
That's
a tough gig for the ball boy or girl last night. Cleaning up that court with a big old goose dumper last night. Yeah,
this is so Oatsy makes my point for me. Thank you, Oatsy. Nebraska already has, take the average attendance for the year at the home arena and say, look, we have the best fans. We set the record for average attendance for an entire year. We don't need to do a one-time 90,000 seat thing just to get everybody in here to say, we broke the record. The San Antonio Spurs last year played in the Alamo Dome one time I know they played there 30 years ago.
Oh, this is going to be a good example, considering they used to play there as their home arena.
But they opened up the entire thing for this one game to set the NBA record. They sell everybody on, come set the NBA record by coming to this game. That's not the record. That's just a stunt.
For as good as the Aunt Betty story was to start the show, this is at the other end of the spectrum. Your argument,
your take on this sucks. Like, it's just bad. Your process to this sucked. Your take on it sucked.
And the result sucked.
So, Jesse, change your process when it comes to so you don't like the Guinness Book of World Records? You think that's all junk?
Weren't you just wanting to set a... What were we just doing earlier this week that you wanted to set?
Josh wanted to set a wave record.
Yeah.
But that's... Okay, so Green Bay Packers fans...
But you'd be doing it just to set the record.
But, don't advertise it ahead of time.
It's hokey,
Don't advertise it ahead of time saying, hey, everybody, buy a ticket to the Packer preseason game so we can set the record for the longest continuous time doing the wave. Just do the longest continuous time doing the wave.
I wonder how long that would be.
28 minutes, I believe we determined.
It would be really good I think that this could finally flush this whole wave system by getting it done. Then we can put a banner up, the greatest wave, Guinness Book of World Record wave at Lambeau. That might be something.
I've never said this more intently. Whoa, Nelly.
Whoa, Nelly!
We'll wrap things up next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Unfiltered, shameless, and analytical. ESPN Milwaukee's next afternoon show is Kyle, Brust, and Northman. Weekdays from 2 to 5. And it debuts on Monday, September 11th at 2 o'clock. Right here on 94.5 ESPN. Sunday Night Baseball hits Houston this week.
The pitch. Good one. Good afternoon. 2-run homer for Tucker, and the Astros lead 2-0.
The rising Astros play host to the falling Yankees.
It's been a disaster this season. And it's definitely a shock.
Our Sunday Night Baseball coverage gets underway at 5 o'clock right here on Milwaukee's home for Major League Baseball on ESPN Radio, 94.5 ESPN.
The Chevy Summer Drive is here. Time to set your sights on summer adventure with a brand new Chevrolet. Take your pick from a full lineup of trucks and SUVs, like the strong and capable Silverado with its powerful Turbo Max engine. There's the versatile and stylish Equinox with an EPA estimated 31 miles per gallon on the highway. Don't miss exciting offers on Chevy's award-winning lineup, and pack more fun into your summer. See your local Chevy dealer and visit WisconsinDriveChevy.com.
I'm coming.
Hi, Mark Tauscher. Tausch, you have mosquitoes in here.
It's like an insect zoo right now at my house. Here comes that wasp again. Incoming.
Shoo, you need Pella's 250 series of windows with exclusive hidden screens, protecting you from nature.
Yes, please. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin to the rescue.
Get a 250 series patio door and 8 double-hung windows with hidden screens as low as $188 per month. PellaWI.com. Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details. Offer ends 8/31/23.
Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Alex Strofe.
This Badger Minute brought to you by UW Credit Union. For every stage of life, UW Credit Union is here for every you. Proudly serving Wisconsin for over 90 years. Hop in or hop online at uwcu.org to join. You've made it, Badgers fans. It's officially game week, which means it's time to look inside the numbers of the 2023 Wisconsin football program. 2 days until kickoff for maybe the best 1-2 punch in the Big Ten and the country of Braylon Allen and Ches Malusi at running back. Malusi and Allen combined for over 1,700 yards on the ground last season for Wisconsin, which is just short of 76% of all rushing yards by the Badgers in 2022. The duo also combined for 14 touchdowns from scrimmage, and as Ches Malusi thinks,
I think we're the best Wilson punch in the country.
Bundle a 250 series patio door and 8 double-hung windows with hidden screens for as low as $188 per month at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin at PellaWI.com.
Woo! I am thirsty today. Definitely going to need a cold one. There's the one. Grabbing one of the go-to beers heading into this fall, and that's Potosi Brewing Company. My guy Wonder from Potosi is back again, and he's got the inside scoop on what sets Potosi apart from all the rest. and that includes giving back with a unique room for patrons to visit at the brewery.
And what's great about Potosi is all profits go to charity. So you're helping your community when you purchase Potosi. Also, what's nice about Potosi is it's also the home of the National Beer Museum. So located in a little small town, they were able to get the National Beer Museum.
Thanks again to Wonder for joining us and telling all about the wonderful things Potosi has to offer. And remember, folks, no matter the season, you have to make sure the fridge is always stocked.
I'm Tony Burrell, Superintendent of the Wisconsin State Patrol. Public safety is our primary mission. Every day, our troopers and inspectors work hard to keep people and commerce moving safely. But drivers need to do their part. That means following these simple rules. Buckle up, phones down, slow down. Thanks for helping us move towards 0 deaths on Wisconsin roads.
A life-saving message sponsored by the U.S. and Wisconsin DOTs.
You're listening to Wilde and Tausch on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella at 855-PELLA-WI or visit online at PellaWI.com/radio.
You know I like my girls a little bit older. I just want to use your love tonight. I don't want to lose your love tonight.
That was really fun, Jesse. I did enjoy our discussion about the realities of setting records in stadiums.
Play half your home games
It's a gimmick. Hard to believe that that's the case.
Play half your home games in the football stadium, then you can count it, Nebraska.
So there's some more breaking news from the NFL before we go. In addition to T.J. Hawkinson's new deal with the Vikings, which we didn't really talk about because we're waiting to talk about tight ends till tomorrow. Alec Ingold, friend of show, does his softball competition every year back in Madison, has been on our show a bunch.
An author, I think. Is he a best-selling author, too?
Saying he's best-selling might be gimmicky, like setting a record
Well, I've
for
never
crowds,
seen anybody read his book, but I think he sold a bunch of books. Yeah.
I'm taking tomorrow off.
But Alec Ingold has a new 3-year extension with Miami. Remember, the Raiders thought he wasn't worth keeping. We tried. Mm-hmm. We wanted him here because now the Packers are using a fullback. His name is Josiah DeGuara. But this is proof, Tausch, quickly, that even if it doesn't work with one team, you can find your place in this league, but you got to be in the right situation.
You have to find the right spot. You have to be persistent and continue to compete, and eventually good things. You trust your process. Trust your process, and good things will happen.
God, you're such a dink. All right, so Jesse is taking another well-deserved day off tomorrow.
Dave's bachelor party. Tearing up Green Bay this weekend.
What tier
1.
is he?
Co-best man in my wedding. Can't wait for his.
Oh, I missed that wedding. I'm sorry. I didn't know that. All right, that's it for Jesse for the week. Tausch and I think are both going to be in Green Bay simultaneously, but not together.
All three of us will be in Green Bay tomorrow, but in 3 different places. How about that?
What are you doing here?
That's it for us today. Have a great day. Take care. Be good.
Miss any of today's episode of Wilde and Tausch? Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin? Commercial-free full show podcasts are available free on Wisconsin On Demand.
Let's get the latest from Lambeau. This is your green and gold fix on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Z-Bart of Greater Milwaukee. Want that mirror finish on your car? You need Z-Gloss by Z-Bart. Z-Gloss is a 3-layer ceramic coating that not only gives your car that mirror finish, it protects it from everything that Mother Nature can throw at it. Visit ZBart.com for more information.
The preseason is now over for the Packers, ending with a 19-15 victory in the preseason finale against the Seahawks. Matt LaFleur saying Jordan Love would play, and he did, going 9-15 and a touchdown in the game. As for knowing if Love is ready to step up, LaFleur points to Love's ability to stay calm as a positive presence.
There were some moments that weren't the most fun going through when you're not producing points on offense. That can be frustrating, but I just think that's one of his makeups that makes him very special.
This has been your green and gold fix on 94.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Z-Bart of Greater Milwaukee.
A cat store! Want to go see it?
Yeah!
Let's finally bring your mom's Illinois family a true taste of Wisconsin.
Right off I-94 in Kenosha, Mars Cheese Castle is a Wisconsin landmark. Along with over 1,000 cheeses, Mars has a meat market, bakery, bar, and restaurant. Spreads, curds, sausages, Kringles. Make Mars Cheese Castle a lunch stop and enjoy the best grilled cheese or Reuben on the planet. Make today your day to go to Mars.
Exit 340 in Kenosha.
Papa, why can't we telegraph while riding a horse?
Son, there ain't no one to blame but Jeffro. He was riding old Betsy the Stallion, tip-tapping away at his telegraph, when blam! Ran right into the side of the saloon.
Well, if Jeffro can't do it, neither should you. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Marquette Hall of Famer Tony Smith here. You're listening to the home of Marquette basketball. 94.5 ESPN is WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
Alabama, Ohio State, and Michigan. Bulldogs, fifth shortest odds of any preseason title favorite in over 20 years. A solid first impression for quarterback Trey Lance in Dallas. Coach Mike McCarthy says the former third overall pick has dived right into the learning acclimation process with the Cowboys. Very hardworking. Added they do need to work on the extra things, particularly in the area of footwork. 49ers coach Kyle Shanahan and GM John Lynch adamant they won't trade Nick Bosa. Even though the star defensive end's holdout has gone on longer than they'd like, they believe he'll sign a lucrative extension. No updates on contract talks, but Lynch did say there's been communication between the team and Bosa's agent.
From the ESPN studios at Pier 17 in the Seaport District of New York City, this is Greeny with Mike Greenberg on ESPN Radio. You can also listen and watch the show on the ESPN app.
It is Greeny on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80, and ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. I'm Michelle Smallman alongside Chris Canty, and we are 2/3 of ESPN Radio's new morning show alongside Evan Cohen. The three of us are going to get started next Tuesday, September 5th, 6 to 10 a.m. Eastern Time, so feel free to join us. Greeny's going to be back in his time slot when things kick off on Tuesday. Canty, we're counting down the days. I can't wait to get started.
Let's go. I'm excited, Smallman. And we got a week until the NFL kicks off. How great is that? So we're kicking off our new show Tuesday, September 5th. NFL kicking off on September 7th. It don't get no better than that. So lock in with us 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday morning. It's going to be a blast.
We have a photo shoot tomorrow, and the group chat has been popping about what to wear. I'm afraid I'm going to be more dressed up than my guys. I'm worried about the color scheme. Evan is concerned about the vibe. People don't realize behind the scenes the things that we worry about.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure when it comes to those photo shoots, but I operate with the mantra of less is more. Like just being able to fade to black. So being able to have muted colors, stand in the background, let you be the foreground because you are the rose that will be between two thorns on our new radio show.
Well, I'm just going to try and capture the essence of Joe Cool, of Joe Burrow. Cartier glasses won't even peek at you. I'm just going to try to match his swag. You know what I'm saying? But Joe Burrow, some news coming out yesterday. We know that he had missed the past 6 weeks of training camp as he was recovering from a calf issue. But he returned to practice for the first time since July 27th. The practice was open to the media. Joe Burrow participated in all of the throwing drills, and he was out there working with the backup quarterbacks. And Canty, we were wondering when we might see Joe Burrow back out on the field. We got that answer yesterday, but we still don't know if he's going to be under center for week 1. So if you're the Bengals, you obviously are working him back out there. You know that your success relies on his availability. So what are you going to do if you're the Bengals? Do you think we're going to see Joe Burrow week 1?
Yeah, I'm going to have him out there if I'm the Bengals. I mean, at this point, it's about the quarterback incurring the risk. If he doesn't want to sign a contract extension right now, if he's of the mind of waiting on Pat Mahomes to get his deal done first so he can get as close to that as he possibly can, then that's all good. But that's a Joe Burrow business problem. And if you're the ownership of the Cincinnati Bengals, if you're the Brown family, if you're their general manager, your focus is making sure that Joe Burrow is ready to operate the offense, making sure that this team is ready to go, just because you recognize the margin for error, not only in your division, but in your conference, is razor thin.
I'm kind of concerned that he doesn't have a contract yet, though, Canty. You mentioned the deal. If he doesn't want to get it done yet, if he's waiting for Pat Mahomes. But if I'm Joe Burrow and I just had an injury and it kept me out 6 weeks, I'm not stepping foot back out on the field until I have secured the bag. So I'm wondering what the hang-up is. And I'm wondering if it's smart for him to go out there and play if he isn't 100% when he doesn't have a new contract done.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a concern is when, and that's up to Zach Taylor and the coaching staff to determine whether or not Joe Burrow can protect himself. Now, I had a calf injury in 2009, my first year with the New York Giants. It took me half a season to get right from that calf injury. I ended up having to have surgery. It was crazy, but it took a long time to recover and to feel like myself. Soft tissue injuries, especially the calf, is tricky. There's no way to avoid, or avoid using it because you're on your legs, you're on your feet. And for a quarterback, footwork is so important. So I just that's the one thing that you worry about: Joe Burrow being out there and potentially re-injuring himself or not being able to protect himself when it gets for real out there when they're live bullets. So I think that's the biggest issue, as I see it, with not having a lot of time in training camp, is making sure that Joe Burrow can go out there and react in the way that he would need to not only be a playmaker, but to also protect himself. Because if Joe Burrow has to miss an extended period of time this season, we're not just talking about the Cincinnati Bengals not winning their division. The Cincinnati Bengals will be on the outside looking into the playoffs because the AFC is just that deep.
Let's hear from Tony Pike. He is a radio host at ESPN 1530 in Cincinnati, and he's a former Cincinnati Bearcats quarterback. He joined Freddie and Fitzsimmons to talk about the Bengals not reaching a long-term deal with Joe Burrow yet.
When the offseason started in Cincinnati, priority number one, without a doubt, was sign Joe Burrow in the offseason. And we have seen Jermaine Pratt and Logan Wilson and Orlando Brown as a free agent. They have made moves, but there is still no deal with T. Higgins. There's no deal with Joe Burrow. If you would have asked anyone covering this team in Cincinnati at the end of last year in the offseason if Joe Burrow was going to be approaching September with no contract, no one would have said yes because they've said all the right things. Duke Tobin, Zach Taylor, Joe Burrow himself, and yet it's just been eerily quiet in Cincinnati without a deal done. And you just wonder and hope that that doesn't linger from a mentality standpoint now that all of these other quarterbacks are paid. It was, okay, wait and see what Lamar gets. Wait and see what Herbert gets. Wait and see what Hurts gets. Well, those deals are all done. It felt like it was next in line, and yet it's not here. It is a little bit puzzling.
It is puzzling, Canty, because you know that he's going to be the highest paid player in the NFL. You know he's going to exceed Justin Herbert's $52.5 million. And I just don't know what the holdup is. Maybe, as you suggested, he is waiting for Patrick Mahomes to get an extension done so he can then top that. But at some point, he's going to be the highest paid player. So if I'm the Bengals, I want to get this done sooner rather than later because I need to pay other players. And if I'm Joe Burrow, I want to get it done so it's not something that I'm worried about or concerned about.
Yeah, you're right. And the Bengals are going to have an expensive, 7 or 8 months because not only are you talking about Joe Burrow and T. Higgins' contract, but you're also going to have to address Jamar Chase, who will be first-time eligible for a contract next offseason in 2024. So they got a lot of money that they got to dole out to players on the offensive side of the ball, guys that factor into being key cogs for the foreseeable future. But here's what I would say. When it comes to Joe Burrow waiting for Patrick Mahomes, to me that makes more sense financially just because Patrick Mahomes' number is going to be far exceed what we saw from Justin Herbert, what we saw from Lamar Jackson, what we saw from Jalen Hurts. Like, I get that the $52.5 million is the high watermark, but I could see a world where we live in Pat Mahomes is getting $56 million a year with, close to what Deshaun Watson got fully guaranteed upon signing. Think about it. $230 million fully guaranteed upon signing is kind of the high watermark for quarterbacks. I could see a world where Pat Mahomes exceeds that along with the average annual value on salary. And if you're Joe Burrow, you want Pat Mahomes to go just so you can try to get closer to those numbers than be around where Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, and Jalen Hurts fell. Because there's clearly a delineation when it comes to the tiers of quarterbacks, and Pat Mahomes is the guy that's on top of the hierarchy. If you're Joe Burrow, you have to view yourself as the next guy in line, and so you want your deal to be, closer to that than the other guys that don't have the extensive resume that Joe Burrow does already in his first 3 years in the league. So I look at it from the standpoint of sound business by Burrow, but it does come with some risk because you are talking about putting yourself in harm's way when you have the calf injury and you're going to start the season not 100%.
And another thing that he had mentioned was being cognizant of the fact that his teammates need to get paid as well. So while it is a better business decision for him to potentially wait for Mahomes and have that marker, because you're right, looking at the quarterback AAV, it's Justin Herbert number one with $52.5 million, followed by Lamar 52, Jalen Hurts 51 million, and rounding out the list is Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, followed by Patrick Mahomes at number 7. The only person on that list that you can make an argument for that Joe Burrow maybe shouldn't be paid as much as is Patrick Mahomes. Everybody else, you know that he's going to far exceed that. But he has made comments, Canty, about being aware of his teammates needing to get paid. And we had the conversation, could Joe Burrow take the Tom Brady route? Could he take less money to ensure that he has a better team around him and that his teammates are also taken care of? So that's the only reason why I would maybe give pause to him waiting to get paid as much as Mahomes. Is he going to be concerned about his teammates at all?
Listen, that is a Cincinnati Bengals problem. That don't need to be a Joe Burrow problem. I'm looking at their cap right now, Michelle. They got $18.5 million in cap space right now today. And next year they're scheduled to have $68 million in cap space. So you got to miss me with taking less to make sure my other guys get paid. No. Joe Burrow needs to go out there and get the bag. He's got to go make his money, okay? And he's got to be paid according to his value to the franchise. Think about this. That team hadn't won a playoff game in 30 years until Joe Burrow took them on that Super Bowl run. They've gone back-to-back years being in the conference championship game. Like it's trending in the right direction for Cincinnati, and it's because of Joe Burrow. Think about this. When Joe Burrow was coming out in 2020, people were wondering whether or not Joe Burrow should try to pull an Eli Manning, whether Joe Burrow should try to force his way to another team rather than going to Cincinnati, because it felt like where quarterbacks' careers go to die. And this guy has resurrected that franchise. Of course he deserves a number that's closer to what Pat Mahomes is going to get than what those other quarterbacks got. I'm not trying to poo-poo Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts and Justin Herbert, because I think all of those guys are capable of winning MVPs. But Joe Burrow and Pat Mahomes are a different class of quarterback. And when you look at what those guys, listen, you can pay Pat Mahomes $60 million, it still probably wouldn't be enough. You can pay him $60 million a year, it still probably wouldn't be enough because he's that good. Joe Burrow is closer to that than he is those other three quarterbacks that have already gotten paid this offseason, and I think that's why he's waiting to do the deal. And Cincinnati has just got to figure it out with those other players. One thing I've learned, Smallman, over a decade in the National Football League, teams find money to pay guys when they want to pay them. The Cincinnati Bengals have enough cap flexibility where they can get that done, take care of Joe Burrow, and take care of those two wide receivers.
He is certainly a transformational player, and he's going to be worth every penny. And we're hoping that the Bengals can start strong. Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone, AutoZone. He's Chris Canty. I'm Michelle Smallman. And coming up, it's that time of year. We're 1 week away from the NFL season, and it's time for Canty's boldest predictions. You don't want to miss this list. There's some spicy things on it. Keep it here on Greeny on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
It's the all-new ESPN Radio Morning Show.
If Anthony Richardson is good, it really doesn't matter who their running back is.
Chris Canty, Evan Cohen, and Michelle Smallman.
We're going to go off the rails more than on occasion. Hopefully folks are laughing with us, more so than laughing at us.
Chris, Evan, and Michelle.
There might be a couple sandwiches short of a picnic up there, if you know what I mean.
Coming to ESPN Radio Tuesday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The wait is finally over.
Bucky by a billion. The Badgers are going to roll. The cheese is going to be flowing. Punching right in the chin, man.
Wisconsin football kicks off against Buffalo this Saturday at Camp Randall Stadium.
This is no walk through the park. This is a game. You have to bring your A game.
Get pumped with ESPN Wisconsin College Game Day beginning at 12:30 and right after the final whistle on 94.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
Over the past year, we've been hard at work improving our sales processes, expanding and remodeling our facilities, investing in new technology, and continuing our commitment to serve our customers, employees, and community. That's why at Boucher, when our customers leave the dealership, we hope we've made a customer for life. Whether you're in need of a new vehicle, are stopping in for routine maintenance, or are in need of collision work, we will be here to help. With 20 locations throughout southeastern Wisconsin and 30 brands, we've got thousands of new and used vehicles for you to choose from. Our dedicated employees have been named a 2022 top workplace for the past 11 years, and we always have been and will continue to be family-owned and operated. Proud to be your Wisconsin family dealership group since 1977. Visit us today at Boucher.com.
To be labeled as bourbon, a whiskey must be distilled from a mash that is at least 51% made of this grain.
What is corn?
Correct.
I'll take liquor for 800.
A cocktail of rum, grapefruit juice, lime juice, simple syrup, and maraschino liqueur is a daiquiri named for this American author.
Who is Ernest Hemingway?
Correct again, Marie. You're on a roll.
Liquor for 1,000, Ken.
Taking a shot of whiskey and immediately chugging a beer is a quote-unquote recipe for this drink, named because it was once served to workers ending their shifts.
What is a Boilermaker?
Unbelievable. Tell us, how do you know so much?
Well, Ken, I am from Discount Liquor, where we have an encyclopedia-like knowledge of all things alcohol. We've been a family-owned and operated business since 1960, and we've all grown up with alcohol as a second language. Our business has literally served multiple generations of Wisconsinites. In Milwaukee, on 51st in Oklahoma, and in downtown Waukesha, on Main and Barstow.
Discount Liquor.
Pick up everything you need to wrap up summer and head into Labor Day at Fleet Farm. Get deals on cookout favorites and snacks like an American Gourmet 3-burner gas grill by Charbroil, on sale $149.99. A 16-pound bag of Kingsford charcoal briquettes, $9.99. 24-pack of Fleet Farm bottled water, just $3. And 1-pound bags of pistachios are just $6.49. We have what you need for your everyday life. Fleet Farm.
Is joint pain, soreness, and achiness getting in the way of your best life? Football legend Emmitt Smith refuses to back down to pain. That's why he's a huge advocate for QC Kinetics and their natural approach to getting you relief.
Look, we get one trip around, so I wouldn't ever let pain stop me from hanging out with my race team, traveling with my family, or golfing with my friends.
Emmitt's got it right. And QC Kinetics uses regenerative medicine to relieve that never-ending pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, and back. And the best news, there's nothing foreign being introduced into your body. Just your own body's natural healing properties. No surgery or no downtime.
If pain's holding you back, maybe it's tennis, pickleball, running, hiking, or spending time with special people in your life, what are you waiting for? This is precious time. Get out there and get over to QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Take your career to the next level with Carroll University's Master in Business Administration program. The MBA program combines the flexibility of hybrid learning with real-world collaboration as industry leaders show you how to thrive in the field. With 3 targeted MBA tracks, expert faculty, and a reputation for business excellence, Carroll puts you in the best position to succeed. Apply now and start in the fall at carrollu.edu/MBA.
Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. That's right, folks. Great Lakes Dragway's 2023 race season is in full swing. Come out to see our annual events like Memorial Day weekend, Labor Day weekend, Nitro Streetcar Brawl, Import Wars, Larry's Fun Fest, and Bug Fest. Looking for something new and exciting? Come see the Night of Fire Jet Show. Want the track all to yourself? Email or call about a private track rental. Go to GreatLakesDragaway.com for contact information and our full season schedule. Great Lakes Dragaway, just a burnout west of I-94 on County KR. Be there.
A bank that goes the extra yard? You got it. Show your love for the green and gold with Packers checking only from Associated Bank. Make every transaction a touchdown with your Packers debit MasterCard. And when you use it at the Packers Pro Shop, at the stadium, or online, you'll get 10% off. Associated Bank's Packers checking scores the home field advantage by delivering Midwest-based customer care, outstanding value, and more. Get in the game and learn more today at AssociatedBank.com/Packers. Member FDIC.
Neil Armstrong waited 6 hours and 39 minutes to step onto the surface of the moon. Jackie Robinson waited 20 months to play his first game with the Brooklyn Dodgers. And even DiCaprio had to wait 22 years to win an Oscar. You can wait until your destination. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Station updates, show clips, and your place to interact with us every single day just by scrolling through your feed. Follow along on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at ESPN Milwaukee.
Alongside Chris Canty, I'm Michelle Smallman. It's Greeny on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80, and ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Chris Canty and myself and Evan Cohen, we're going to get things started with an all-new morning show right here on ESPN Radio. It kicks off next Tuesday, September 5th, 6 to 10 a.m. Eastern Time, weekdays on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU. And Greeny will be back in this time slot starting Tuesday as well. And I'm so looking forward to working with Evan Cohen and Chris Canty. And one of the reasons is because Chris Canty is a man who knows what he's talking about. We are going to run over his bold predictions that he gave last year, and then he's going to reveal his bold predictions for this NFL season. That's coming up in a matter of minutes, but we want to hear from you. 888-SAY-ESPN, that's 888-729-3776. Give us your bold predictions for this 2023 NFL season. And Canty, I'm looking over this list of your bold predictions last year. You hit on a bunch. I mean, you can see into the future. Let's run over these. Number 5, you had that the Eagles would win the NFC East. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, that was a home run, wasn't it? That was a home run.
That was amazing. You said Malik Willis will start for the Titans. Check.
Not so much. But listen, the Titans did start a backup quarterback at the end of the season. It just wasn't Malik Willis.
It was. I'll give it a check, though, because you were on the backup quarterback. Brandon Staley will be fired. Really close. Really close. A lot of people thought it was going to happen.
I don't know how he didn't get fired after blowing a 27-0 lead in Jacksonville in the wild card. I don't know how he kept his job. I don't either, but that was a great prediction by you. The Rams will miss the playoffs, check, and you had the 49ers making the Super Bowl. Very close. So the ones that you didn't get, Canty, were super close, but no cigar. Yeah, they were really close. But, I had really sound logic in making those bold predictions, and that's why people should pay attention when I talk about the 2023 bold predictions.
Well, he's going to give them to you in a second. Football is back, and I'm here to remind you that Vivid Seats has your back for all your ticket needs. Not only is Vivid Seats the official ticketing partner of ESPN, they have a 100% buyer guarantee, and they're the only ticket company that rewards you for buying. This football season, you can catch every pass, every tackle, and every heart-pounding play live and in person. To get great deals on great seats, just download their app or visit vividseats.com today. Vivid Seats, experience it live.
The list is what determines who matters in this business.
The Green List.
888-SAY-ESPN, that's 888-729-3776. Call in and give us your bold predictions. But I've got to be honest, I don't know if any of them are going to top the 5 that we're about to hear from Chris Canty. Canty, take it away.
All right, so folks, take notes. My bold predictions, we're going to kick this thing off at number 5. Give me the sounder.
Number 5.
The Washington Commanders will make the playoffs. Yeah, I said it. It's a new day in Washington, new ownership with Josh Harris. Don't let him give you the awkward handshake, though. But what I will say is Sam Howell doesn't look awkward at quarterback. This preseason, the dude was on fire. There's a reason why the Commanders were undefeated in preseason. I know you have to take things with a grain of salt, but just his way of operating the offense, the command that he showed, the poise, being able to get in and out of the huddle, being able to make strong, accurate throws in short, intermediate, and deep zones. Like, to me, this dude is going to be a budding young quarterback in our league. He's going to ascend, and as he goes, that team is going to go. We know their defense is legit. They were top 3 from a year ago, but when you look at the players around Sam Howell, you got Terry McLaurin, you got Curtis Samuel, you got Jahan Dotson, you got tight end Logan Thomas, and a strong run game with Brian Robinson Jr. and Antonio Gibson. This offense is going to finally catch up to where the defense is, and that's going to lead to this team getting back to the postseason.
Number 4.
Okay, we got the Seattle Seahawks winning the NFC West.
Ooh.
How the West was won is going to be how it was won during the Legion of Boom era with Pete Carroll in Seattle. It's going to be on the defensive side of the ball. Now, listen, I love Zach Charbonnet and Kenny Walker, that 1-2 punch with the running game, and I love the offensive line for the Seahawks. I even love the wide receivers, but the defense is where it's at, and we know Pete Carroll likes to build his defenses from back to front. They drafted Devin Witherspoon, who I thought was the top defensive back in that draft. They're going to pair him alongside Tariq Woolen, a rookie that led the league in interceptions a year ago. You look at that secondary. You look at Jordan Brooks coming back healthy. This is going to be a really, really good defense, and I think they're going to keep them in a lot of games. So I have confidence that Geno Smith's season last year wasn't a one-off. The Seattle Seahawks will win the NFC West.
Number 3.
The Jags are going to make it to the AFC Championship game.
What?
I can't believe I'm saying this because it sounds so awkward. But Jacksonville is going to make it to the conference championship game. In a crowded AFC field, they are the ones that have the easiest path to get into the postseason because they play in the AFC South. And I'm not worried about the Titans, the Colts, or the Texans. All of those teams are a couple of years away. The Jacksonville Jaguars are here now. They won a playoff game a year ago. And lest we not forget, that was a 3-point ball game in Arrowhead Stadium in the divisional round against the Chiefs. And the Trevor Lawrence-led Jacksonville Jaguars aren't afraid of anybody. That offense is ready to take off. They've got Calvin Ridley, who's a 1,000-yard receiver. He's at a different level. They've got Evan Ingram. They've got Travis Etienne, who's a 1,000-yard rusher. They have all the elements that you need. They drafted Anton Harrison in the first round to give Trevor Lawrence bookend tackles to set the edges of that pocket. Their defense is coming along. I like where the Jacksonville Jaguars are, and they have a competent Super Bowl winning head coach in Doug Peterson. The Jags are going to make it to the AFC Conference Championship game.
Number 2.
Number 2, this will be Bill Belichick's last year coaching the New England Patriots. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to get fired, but I am saying that he's going to move on. So you make of that what you will, but if you listen to what Robert Kraft said all offseason long, yeah, it'd be nice if Bill Belichick broke Don Shula's coaching record, but when we looked at our players, we never treated it as a situation where he allowed them to chase individual accolades over team success. Robert Kraft is getting tired of his program devolving in the wake of Tom Brady leaving, and I think they're looking at this as an opportunity to transition to a new voice on the sideline. Belichick will probably still be in the organization in some capacity, but he won't be wearing the headset and the hoodie on the sidelines come Sundays in 2024.
Number 1.
Buckle up, Smallman, because this is a doozy. The Dallas Cowboys miss the playoffs. Yeah, I said it. The Dallas Cowboys missed the playoffs. And listen, it's not a matter of talent with the Cowboys. They have all the talent in the world, including maybe having the best defensive player in all of football in Micah Parsons. That defense is elite. The offense has a lot of weapons. They have a really good offensive line. But Smallman, I don't trust the head coach, and I don't trust the quarterback. That's a bad place to be when you talk about getting to the tournament and getting to a Super Bowl. I just don't think the Dallas Cowboys have it in them. And add on top of that the layer of dealing with the Trey Lance fallout from the trade. I just don't see this going in a direction that's going to lead to the Cowboys being able to get to the playoffs again. It's been a long time since the Dallas Cowboys went to the playoffs 3 consecutive years. I just don't see that happening. I don't see Mike McCarthy being the one to break that drought. I think this is the year that the Dallas Cowboys fall flat on their face amid the contract situation, the quarterback situation, and the head coach being on the hot seat. So there it is, my bold predictions for the 2023 season. We've got to run through them again. Commanders make the playoffs. Seahawks win their division. The Jags get to the AFC Championship game. Belichick's last year coaching, and the Dallas Cowboys missing the playoffs. Smallman, any comments, any glaring omissions from my bold predictions list?
This is an outstanding list, and these are some bold predictions. And we see the phone lines lighting up, 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. Hang on, we're going to get to you in a second. But we got to run through this list. The Commanders making the playoffs. I know that you think Sam Howell has the arrow pointing up. Ron Rivera's really pumped about him. I love that Eric Bieniemy is there. But I don't know if I can go there, Canty. I don't know. You must be drinking a little bit more of the Kool-Aid than I am, because I still remember them going to Ron Rivera just weeks ago saying that they were working too hard and they didn't like Eric Bieniemy's coaching style. I just don't know if we're going to see them be a cohesive unit, or at least enough to make the playoffs.
Well, Smallman, coaching is making men do what they don't want to do so they can become what they want to become. That was a direct quote from Tom Coughlin. So I hear all of the rumblings from training camp and how Eric Bieniemy was tough on him, but the guys on the offensive side of the ball have no idea how to have sustained success in this league. And this franchise has been up and down, and they have had instability at the most important spots, including head coach and quarterback. I think they finally settled on that, and they have an offensive coordinator that's creative, that's innovative in Eric Bieniemy, that can utilize all of the skill position talent that they have. And their offensive line doesn't look like it's going to be an impediment to doing what Bieniemy wants to do. They're going to forge an identity built around toughness, based on the personnel that they had. And also remember this, they were the first ones to go into Philadelphia last year and beat the Eagles. And that was a physical game. And if I'm not mistaken, a double-digit win for Washington. So they've shown that they've got the grit that it takes under Coach Ron Rivera. Now you're going to add a little spice, a little creativity with the X's and O's and Bieniemy. And that's why I think this team is poised to get to the postseason.
All right, moving right along. I love the Seattle Seahawks. I'm with you. That defense is going to be outstanding. I don't think Geno Smith's season last year was an aberration. But you have them winning the NFC West. What's going on with the 49ers if you have Seattle winning the NFC West?
Well, the 49ers, I think, are going to have some issues. Brock Purdy is recovering from that UCL injury. If you see the comments coming out of training camp, they're going to take down his throws during the week from 700 throws to 350 throws to try to keep him fresh throughout the regular season. So there's still a little bit of concern with Brock Purdy's health. And then you couple that with the fact that Mike McGlinchey is gone, and that offensive line outside of Trent Williams is going to be a work in progress. So they've got work to do there. I get that they've got Javon Hargrave in free agency, but we've also got to remember that they're losing a couple of veteran pass rushers and Samson Ebukam and Charles Omenihu, and then they don't have Nicky Bosa as well. So, I mean, that defensive front has got some issues. The offensive line has got some issues. And that's why I'm looking at the 49ers as a team that can regress a little bit. I still look at them as a playoff squad. I still look at them as a 9 or 10 win team. But I just don't think we're going to see them at the same level that we did last year, when we were thinking that they were one of the best teams in the NFC, if not the best team in the NFC.
Okay, the Jaguars making the AFC Championship game is bold, but it's not outside the realm of possibility. Trevor Lawrence, Doug Peterson, a winning combo. We saw what they were able to do last season. I wouldn't be shocked if that one came true. Same thing with Bill Belichick in his last season of coaching. We know that seems to be right there in the forefront. That's certainly part of the conversation. But the Cowboys missing the playoffs, I know we're not high on the Dallas Cowboys, but the NFC outside of the Philadelphia Eagles is pretty wide open. I would say the Cowboys are the second best team in the NFC. I don't foresee them missing the playoffs, Canty.
Yeah, and listen, if it was based on the roster on paper, then you're right. You're not wrong. But the things that I'm looking at are the mistakes from the quarterback. Remember, Dak Prescott, 35 turnovers in the last 31 games. We also got to consider that Dak Prescott has missed 17 games over the last 3 years. And then we also have to consider the game management issues that we've seen from Mike McCarthy, not to mention the transition to Dak hearing somebody different in the headset for the first time in, 5 years? So all of those moving parts to me signal that this could be an issue. And people say, well, yeah, Dak's turnovers are not in his character. That may well be true. But you know what else is uncharacteristic, something that we don't see in the NFL? A defense leading the league in takeaways for 2 consecutive years. The last time we saw that was the 73-74 Steelers. It's been a long time, and that's what the Cowboys just did. So I think all of those takeaways on the defensive side of the ball masked a lot of ills that we saw between the head coach and the quarterback. And if the defense doesn't get that same kind of turnover luck, then I think we're going to see a lot of those issues, a lot of those deficiencies be the undoing of the Cowboys in 2023. So I get that the expectations are for them to go on a deep playoff run, and that's how Jerry is going to gauge it. But I think this is the year that the Cowboys take a step back. Remember, this is a franchise that hadn't gone to the playoffs 3 consecutive years since 1994, 95, and 96. Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin and Troy Aikman were there. That was the last time they've gone to the playoffs 3 consecutive years. So I just don't see that happening this year, especially with such a pressure-packed, tumultuous situation with Dallas and how they're dealing with their quarterback, how they're dealing with their head coach.
The phone lines have absolutely blown up, Canty. 888-ESPN, that's 888-729-3776. Let's first go to Dustin in Virginia. Canty's #1 bold prediction for the 2023 season is that the Dallas Cowboys will miss the playoffs. Dustin, what is yours?
I don't have one. I'm just trying to figure out what Chris is thinking right now. The Dallas Cowboys not making the playoffs, but the Commanders are, and he don't trust Mike McCarthy, but he trusts Ron Rivera, who didn't even know that his team needed to win to get in last year, and he switched out quarterbacks. But Mike McCarthy has took the Dallas Cowboys to 2 back-to-back 12-5 seasons. Jason Garrett didn't do that. He's been the best head coach since probably Bill Parcells been there. And, you said something about the game management issues, but he hasn't had it since 2021. So, I just don't see what he's saying about the Dallas Cowboys missing the playoffs.
Well, Dustin, that's why it's bold predictions, right? Not everybody's going to see it, but remember, last year I predicted that the Rams, coming off of winning the Super Bowl, would miss the playoffs, and they did. And guess who made the playoffs? A team in their division in the Seattle Seahawks that moved away from a guy that might be in the Hall of Fame in Russell Wilson. Think about that now. So it's just, these are the things, the things that we're talking about are behind the scenes, intangibles, chemistry, the inner workings of the National Football League. There are some times where you have a talented team, but it just doesn't come together for whatever reason. Well, I think we can point out what the reasons would be in Dallas in terms of why this team wouldn't realize the expectations that are on them. Again, it's been a really long time since Dallas has been able to have sustained success, be a consistent double-digit win team, and consistently go to the playoffs. It just hasn't been in their organizational DNA for whatever reason. And I think a big part of that reason has been Jerry Jones. Mm-hmm. And you saw what happened. You saw what he had to say after he traded from Trey Lance. He didn't even clue his head coach or his quarterback in. They asked him, did you talk to Mike McCarthy or Dak Prescott about it? He said no to both. And you know why he said no to both? Because he was sending a message that both of those men are on notice in Dallas. If he doesn't have the kind of season he's looking for, both of them are going to be out. I will say this, Ballman. No matter how good you think your job security is, it's unsettling when the owner of the team or your superior comes to you and sends a message like Jerry Jones has sent Mike McCarthy and has sent Dak Prescott.
The phone lines are absolutely jammed. People want to get in, Chris Canty. They want to talk about your bold predictions and give some of their own. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. Coming up next, we are going to get to more of your bold predictions. That's after I tell you about this from FanDuel. You can snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. So visit FanDuel.com/play and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL.
Must be 21 plus and present in select states. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG in Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Tennessee, and Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342 in Arizona. 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com in Kansas. 1-877-770-STOP in Louisiana. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net in West Virginia. Or call 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts. Or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.
If this were a Reese's TV ad, you'd be staring at a Reese's peanut butter cup. And sure, my voice is peanut buttery smooth, but still, you need to see the peanut butter cups, right? No? I can really just say Reese's and you'll go get some? Okay, Reese's. 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 Really working, actually. Reese's. Reese's. I'm on to something. Reese's. Reese's. Reese's.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-511-3535. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider, 800-511-3535. That's 800-511-3535. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with, call Big Lou at 800-511-3535.
O'Reilly Auto Parts' new Brake Best Select Pro brand raises the bar for the best aftermarket domestic brake pads and rotors available. For vehicle-specific friction formulations, Quiet-Tech noise-canceling shims, and stainless steel hardware, choose Brake Best Select Pro. Professional-grade brakes from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811, brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
UW Credit Union presents the Student Athlete of the Week, supporting local student athletes as they grow on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. UW Credit Union is here for every you. Learn more at uwcu.org. Here's Ashton Rotman with the UW Credit Union Student Athlete of the Week.
This week's UW Credit Union Student Athlete of the Week is Greendale's Gabe Torres. The Panthers' senior wide receiver having an outstanding night in their 48-40 win over Alcorn in Week 2. In the game, Torres had 6 catches for a total of 148 yards, and to go along with it, the class of 2024 product got into the end zone 3 times. The win for Greendale was their first win of the season and a nice bounce-back victory following the season opener in which they fell 34-7 to Badger High School. Next up, Torres and the Panthers will take on Cudahy at home in a Thursday night contest.
Juniper Pools is kicking off football season in a big way this year. Purchase a spa between July 29th and August 31st, and you win when our team wins. If the green and gold win the big game, you'll receive your hot tub purchase for free. If they win the division, you get $1,000 back, and if they make the wild card playoff game, you score a $250 in-store gift card. For complete promotional terms and conditions, visit poolpeople.com. Get ready to relax and back the green and gold this season with Juniper Pools on West Wisconsin Avenue by Costco in Appleton.
Hey, this is the Fat Jack, and it's finally the start of football season and a great time for you to ask yourself, how did last year go? If you were just guessing and you lost money betting on the games, now is the time to go to FatJackSports.com. Before you dig yourself a hole, you can start the season heading into profit. For $50 a week, you can make money betting the games. Go to FatJackSports.com and get consistent winners emailed to you or sent via text that will get you into profit. FatJackSports.com today.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tauscher here for my friends at Kohler Services. Treat yourself to a new shower this summer. Kohler Services is a local end-to-end bath and shower design and remodel service brought to you by Kohler, a family-owned in Wisconsin for 150 years. Kohler is the only manufacturer offering fast, professional installation and care for life. Start enjoying your bath or shower right now with a special offer. Visit kswisconsin.com to request your free quote and tell them that I sent you over. Again, that's kswisconsin.com.
Hey, it's ESPN Milwaukee's Gabe Neitzel, ready to celebrate Labor Day week on 94.5 ESPN. Sponsored by Perky's Old Fashioned, all ready to pour bourbon or brandy mix with the alcohol already in it. Get perked up this Labor Day with an easier than ever Wisconsin Old Fashioned. Just add the soda of your choosing to Perky's brandy or bourbon mix and enjoy. Find your nearest Perky's location at perkyspirits.com and get 15% off Perky's merch using the code PERKY15. Happy Labor Day from 94.5 ESPN and Perky's Old Fashioned, your bartender in a bottle.
A cat store!
Want to go see it?
Yeah!
Let's finally bring your mom's Illinois family a true taste of Wisconsin.
Right off I-94 in Kenosha, Mars Cheese Castle is a Wisconsin landmark. Along with over 1,000 cheeses, Mars has a meat market, bakery, bar, and restaurant. Spreads, curds, sausages, Kringles. Make Mars Cheese Castle a lunch stop and enjoy the best grilled cheese or Reuben on the planet. Make today your day to go to Mars.
Yeah!
Exit 340 in Kenosha.
It's ESPN Milwaukee's Jen Latta, and I have told you about the delicious pizza and Italian snacks that you can find at Proof Pizza inside St. Kate the Arts Hotel. But now there's even more to be excited about. The restaurant has added new sandwiches to the menu. Available every day from 11 to 4, you can enjoy items like the Red Rock Chicken BLT, the Meatball Hero, and more. Order from the counter at Proof or directly from the bar at St. Kate. Explore the new sandwiches and the rest of the menu at proofpizzamke.com.
ESPN Milwaukee is the official home for Catholic Memorial Crusaders football. Listen to Gabe Neitzel and Mike Podol on the call every Friday night. Catholic Memorial Football on 94.5 ESPN is brought to you by R&R Insurance, Gerald Nell Inc., Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, Wind Dancer Balloon Promotions, Suburban Asphalt, Perspire Sauna Studio, Home Sealed Exteriors, BC Adhesives, and Lake 5 Landscape Supply.
Protection on the road and on the water. See how much you can save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and progressive.com. In case you missed it, in case you weren't with us last segment, Chris Canty gave quite the green list today. His top 5 bold predictions for the 2023 NFL season, and it's got the people up in arms. Number 5, the Commanders make the playoffs. Number 4, the Seahawks win the NFC West. Number 3, the Jaguars make it to the AFC Championship game. Number 2, it's Bill Belichick's last season coaching in the NFL. And number 1, and this might surprise you, people are upset, Chris Canty predicting that the Dallas Cowboys miss the playoffs. The phone lines absolutely packed. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. Let's unleash them, Canty. Let's go to Ernest in New Jersey. Ernest, welcome to Greeny. What's your bold prediction for the 2023 NFL season?
Hey, how you doing? My bold prediction basically is that the Seahawks will not win the NFC West.
Why is that?
I think Canty is nuts for that prediction because I think we beat them 3 times last year. We have a better defense than them.
Who's we?
We have a better offense than them. San Francisco.
Oh.
We have a better offense than them. We have a better head coach than them. I mean, they haven't beat us last year at all. I don't understand his take on that, but.
So just because they beat them 3 times last year, they have no chance of beating them this year.
Is that Kyle Shanahan? He keeps saying we.
right. Like we. Like, is he DJ Khaled?
Brock Purdy? Brock, is that you?
That's the part that I don't understand. I explained it. Like, their quarterback is coming off of UCL surgery. I don't know if you're familiar with the human body, but you kind of need one of those to throw a football. So that's going to matter. That's going to have some kind of impact on him. And then you talk about your offensive line not being the same as it was last year because you're missing Mike McGlinchey. Mike McGlinchey got paid $90 million in free agency. He didn't get paid that because he's not good at football, so you have to replace that production from the right tackle spot. That offensive line is going to be a work in progress. You lost all of those veteran edge rushers. Samson Ekubon. You lost Charles Omenihu, who's with the Kansas City Chiefs. Nicky Bosa isn't there right now because he's in a contract holdout. So you've got a lot of moving parts that you got to figure out. Not to mention, DeMeco Ryans, your defensive coordinator for the last few years, he's now the head coach of the Houston Texans. So you're bringing in Steve Wilkes. So again, there are things that are changing within the San Francisco 49ers organization. It's not just going to be pick up where we left off. They've got some adjustments. They've got some things they got to navigate in order to find their footing and their identity as a team in 2023. Seattle doesn't have as many moving parts as the 49ers do. So even though the Seahawks don't have the top-level talent that San Francisco does at certain positions, top to bottom, Seattle is a really, really solid, talented roster.
Let's go to Connor in South Carolina. Connor, what's your bold prediction for the 2023 NFL season?
What's up, y'all? My prediction is Green Bay's going to win the North and continue to dominate Chicago. I don't see why not. I think Jordan Love's good. I think our receivers are going to be better this year. I think we have a good rookie receiver. I forget his name, Jaden Reed, maybe. Good new tight end. I don't know, man. I think people are sleeping on Green Bay more than they should.
Yeah, I absolutely think Green Bay will be in the mix for a playoff spot. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to get in, but if you look at their team, if Jordan Love can give you competent quarterback play, then Matt LaFleur will have this team in position to get one of those wild cards. I absolutely believe that, and there's no reason to think that Jordan Love can't give you competent quarterback play when you've got the wide receiver tandem of Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson, not to mention Luke Musgrave, the tight end that they got out of Oregon State, who's looked phenomenal in the preseason, Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. And let's keep this in mind too, Smallman. Brian Gutekunst, the general manager of the Packers, was in on trying to trade for Jonathan Taylor. You don't make that kind of move as a GM unless you think your team is ready to win this year.
Right.
And he actually considered doing that. So to me, I think the Packers are one of those teams that people need to look out for as a potential playoff contender.
I love that everyone is high on the Packers, the Lions. They're very intrigued by Justin Fields and the Bears. We're so dismissive of Justin Jefferson and Mr. Cole's Cash himself, Kirk Cousins. I know they had so many close games last season, but I don't know why we're dismissing the Vikings.
I don't know either. I guess it's people not believing in Kirk, but you also got to think that Kevin O'Connell, their head coach, knows what he's doing. That was his first year. He won 13 games out the gate. Like they got something going, and they have the best receiver in all of football in Justin Jefferson. So Minnesota is a team to look out for.
Let's go to John calling in from Long Branch. John, welcome to the show. What's your bold prediction for this NFL season?
All right, so I'm out here in Long Branch. I am a Dallas Cowboys fan, and I must say that I do agree with the take. I don't think it's crazy to be bold. I mean, if the Commanders' defensive line is what it could be, and Sam Howell turns out to be a legitimate NFL quarterback in his first season, which we've seen before, there's no reason why, with Terry McLaurin, there's no reason why the Eagles obviously are a step above the Cowboys, so the Eagles definitely will make it. Then if the Commanders can beat them twice or make it competitive, the Giants are a certainly competitive team. It's a division game. Their own division. And Dak Prescott has to prove he's never done anything in his career other than have a couple solid seasons. The guy's a doofus. Trump 2024. Let's go. He's going to win.
Okay. All right. So there's that. do we have? Are we done? Are we done with all the bold predictions? No more bold predictions?
I think what he was trying to say is that he agrees with you that the Cowboys are likely to miss the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's as far-fetched when you look at the situation. Like, there's the I guess, the distraction of the Dak Prescott contract extension and whether or not that's going to work out. There is the Mike McCarthy of it all. How's he going to do as an offensive play caller as well as being the head coach and wearing that hat? There is Dan Quinn, who is thought to be an in-house candidate to replace Mike McCarthy as the head coach should things not work out. And there is the turnover woes that we've seen from Dak Prescott in his last 30 or so odd games. So there's a lot of things that we look at with the Cowboys and say, hey, this could go off the rails, barring something, one of these things taking place. And so I don't think it's far-fetched to think that the Cowboys aren't going to be in the postseason. I just don't. I think this team has survived on a lot of turnover luck that could end.
Hey, it's Harry Douglas, and Thursday on ESPN Radio, we've got football. Woo! I'll tell you everything you need to know about Week 1 in the college game, plus one Super Bowl contender getting zero attention. Join us at noon Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/play. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG in Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Tennessee, and Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342 in Arizona, 1-888-789-7777, or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana, 1-800-522-4700, or visit ksgamblinghelp.com in Kansas, 1-877-770-STOP in Louisiana, visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland, visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net in West Virginia, or call 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.
Yeah, they're football guys, but they don't shy away from the big topics of the day.
You make a really good argument. He could have been the greatest brewer ever and played for 5 months.
Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Also sponsored by American Family Insurance.
And I stole his pants. I have a pair of CC's pants at the house.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Do they fit?
Why do you have CC's?
Well, they did. I'm not sure they do now, but yeah.
Weekdays 9 to noon on 94.5 ESPN and available wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
Make the most of your summer at Maddie's Bar and Grill in New Berlin and the new Big Backyard. Greetings, ESPN Milwaukee listeners. This is Matt Anderson from Maddie's, and I invite you to check out our outdoor party paradise, featuring our new amphitheater for live music weekly and built-in 18-foot jumbotron for incredible sports viewing parties. Multiple bars, including Tapville, Greater Milwaukee's first self-pour bar featuring craft cocktails, wines, seltzers, and beer. Can't wait for you to see what we've created. See you when I'm looking at you.
Hey, it's Jason Wilde for Associated Bank. Show your Brewers pride everywhere you go with Brewers Checking, only from Associated Bank. Score exclusive perks like a one-of-a-kind Brewers Debit MasterCard, 10% off at the team store, even express check-in at the Associated Bank gate. And if you want a VIP game day, the Associated Bank Power Alley is for everyone. Contact the Brewers ticket office to learn how you could treat your crew to a full buffet and private bar overlooking left center field. Brewers Checking. Learn more at associatedbank.com/Brewers today. Member FDIC.
Steinhoffel's Labor Day sale is bigger than ever with huge savings throughout the store and hundreds of incredible bonus buys. Start with $100 off your purchase of $19.99 or more. Plus, get a stainless steel 115-can beverage cooler free when you spend $39.99 or more. And take 15% off all clearance furniture and mattresses. Make it even easier when you use Steinhoffel's 72-month financing. It's Steinhoffel's Labor Day sale. Shop in store or online at steinhoffels.com.
It's ESPN Wisconsin's Ben Brust for Road America, where vintage racing lives on. Experience the sights, sounds, and smells from motorsport's pioneering age in historic Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Road America's 2020